quiet. I hear the thunder that comes from far away. It's like a noise in my head. Oh, this world hurts, this world hurts. It gets you deep and leaves the sky. Oh, this world hurts, this world hurts. It gets you deep and leaves the sky. We need to get out, 'cause there's forth has got me so messed up. Don't ignore the signs. We've had enough of the whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I?
Hello and welcome to NSE UK Splatoon University League. I'm Satsu. I'm here with Antonin, and we are going to be taking a look at our first game of the day, UWE Stags versus Anarchists. But first of all, Anso, how are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely spectacular. Thank you for having me here, Sasu. This is going to be such a banger series.
Yeah, I am super excited to be back here on the mic. Last time I was here, had an absolute blast. So looking forward to this next week that I'm back here for. And for those of you who don't know, the way this sort of works is that the first 3 games to the first point are going to be turf. So we're going to be looking at both of these teams on Umami. Turf, essentially.
Yeah, Umami Turf. This is going to be an interesting map and an interesting mode. Tend to not see this, but this is the format rules, and we see these comps being brought out. We're going to be seeing that Stringer there brought up by UWE Stags. Such a fantastic weapon for Turf War.
Oh, absolutely. Usually you do see reflux. Last time I was here casting, did not see any reflux, much to my surprise, because from what I know, that's sort of the meta, but you see Nebula here getting a nasty double right off the top. Speaking of top, getting those 2 members that were sort of holding hands on that top mid, but with those double Booyah Bombs coming out from UWE Stags, no surprise there, seeing as though you've got that reflex that no doubt is going to get a bunch of those booyahs, along with the golden arrow spray. You hate to see it whenever you're playing turf there, especially during like a Splatfest.
Yes, that golden arrow spray, so good at not only painting but farming those specials as much as possible, and that's very important on this mode here. Harry here trying to control this mid with the Zuka, but gets hit by the other Zupa on the side. Snipe with a fantastic shot with the Zuka, finds a pick, and that's going to give them the go-ahead to start pushing up here and try to get paint, but the Booyah Bombs force them back as they have to paint. It's all about this control over mid, as these 2 teams are going to be fighting for about the next minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, but as you can sort of note here is that Anarchist has chosen to have a cooler on their team, while I believe UWE Stags has not. They're like, we're just gonna paint it, screw it, we ball. We're just gonna keep on going, regardless of if we go down or not. I think they're like, listen, we're gonna get the booyahs instead of having to worry about that, but that may be punishing them now. As you see, there has been a delayed wipe on UWE Stag, so now Anarchists able to take that mid and start moving in to UWE Stag's spawn there, and with the time ticking, we are under 1 minute. They're not going to have that much time to break out and continue painting.
Yeah, a spectacular shot from Snipes there to keep UWE at bay, but it's a 1-for-1. But as you said, Anarchist bringing that cooler option allows them to take these constant fights over space. With the free respawn back is so powerful for them, but it's 2 down on the side of Anarchist as they're forced to give up mid here. Snipes in a lot of trouble is going to go down, and it's 15 seconds left, and the picks are just going in for UWE Stags. This is a fantastic time to make this push.
Absolutely. Now we are under 10 seconds left, but 2 members are down from UWE Stags. Make that 3 is going to mean that the last few seconds are going to go to Anarchist. So we're going to see if that was necessarily enough time. The judges are going to let us know, and it is just by 8% or so gonna be, I believe, for Anarchist. So that is out of the best of 3, 1 game already for Anarchist.
We saw one of the members at the end, Anarchist, break out of the pack and start to paint the spawn of UWE at that last second, which gave them enough percent to really push them over the edge, but it was a great last second fight from them that also helped them secure the bag. But they need to win one more. They need to win this best of 3 on turf in order to get that first point.
Absolutely. And we're taking a look at the map modes we have here for turf. They are going to get the chance to counterpick here. So we're looking at Hagglefish, Mahi Mahi Resort, Humpback Pump Track, Shipshape Cargo Co., or Robo Ramen. And none of these necessarily jumping out to me, but obviously I don't necessarily play all that much turf, but seeing as though these teams are prepped for the NSE UK Splatoon University League, I'm sure they have their preferences as to what necessarily works for them, etc., etc. Plus, I feel like when in turf, have you ever been playing a Splatfest and you're playing turf and you're like, whoa, I didn't realize that this is what this stage looks like in its turf mode. So there may be some of these maps that look completely different, have sort of gimmicks that I'm not necessarily familiar with, to be honest, that may make it easier for one of these teams to counterpick to their liking. Ooh.
And we're going to be going to Mahi Mahi Resort here. I'm excited. This is one of those interesting maps for turf because, the map opens up to have more turfable space midway through the match. And so you have all these fights consistently in the early stage where teams are going to be focusing on getting their map space. And then at that, halfway point, it starts to become a really big brawl over that new space.
Yeah, absolutely. You have Anarchist there at advantage. Of course, if they win this game, they're going to take that first point of this overall best of 5. And like you mentioned, Turf War, everyone often says that what really matters is the final 30 seconds of the game. But when it comes to Mahi Mahi Resort, you have, I believe, at the halfway point, so that's going to be 1 minute and 30 seconds. Turf War, of course, only 3 minutes. The whole map changes in terms of drops, in terms of what you have accessible. So as opposed to Turf War, where maybe you're just kind of getting those picks, doing whatever for 2 minutes and 30 seconds straight, you're going to have more on your plate around halfway through the match.
Yes. And you got to keep, a track of the game state, how things are going. You can't, get too worked up early, get too worked up late, because you need to have a good, strong early game, of course, while the stage is slow, and a good late game on this map. So it'll be interesting how this goes as these two teams load in. We're going to see what these comps are, and I expect, well, maybe I shouldn't have expected anything.
Ooh, I think we have a change from Anarchist, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. Interestingly enough, we have double Splatling with a ballpoint on their side, along with those strikes out of that V slosh. But already you have members of UWE Stags in mid trying to get an early hold there, while I think perhaps their reflux is painting their own spawn, which will be useful so that they don't necessarily have to do it later. Of course, a sort of skirmish there with those Zukas, and UWE really squatting up in this mid here.
Yes, UWE trying to play as a team here in through this mid area. As we see the Booyah Bomb come in from the flank of Boop, and it's going to pick up Nebula. What a snipe!
Wow, yeah, they kind of blindly threw that, or maybe it's just like when you throw the ball at the basket and walk away and it goes in nonetheless. But 2 of those members are going to go down for UWE Stags. You see Subzan there kind of biding their time before they move in. Of course, you have Nebula here on that ballpoint, ready to just check anyone who overextends, and we're just about halfway here, so soon the Zuka does come out, but we are going to see the water level dropping just about now.
And here it goes. all this new space, and you see these members, they've shifted their fights towards the extremities here. They're no longer fighting over this mid space. We, of course, see the one battle on mid, and it'd be Clone fighting there, but we see Nebula here on the right. Gonna go down on the pick, but Clone finds a trade. The Bio comes out, and the specials back and forth, but UWE are down 2 here, and Anarchist had that cooler up.
Yeah, there have been no changes, of course, in comms from UWE Stags. They have decided still to center their paint over life, so to speak. And I think that is kind of making this a struggle for them. Of course, you see Snipe Z going down there, but overall, there are coolers coming out from Anarchist's side because of that zap. And one thing about that is not only are they going to be able to come right back and start painting again as soon as they go down, but also Zap, of course, a shooter, easy to get paint out there. So they're going to have to be fighting a gun that paints very well and is going to keep their members up. But I'm not quite sure if they were cooler there. 3 members going down and just 15 seconds left. Anarchists are going to have to pick it up.
And we see this, UWE in that last map had a great fight, but it was a little bit early. Anarchist has time to make this refight. We see the tries go down, 3 seconds are left, and they grab 2, but the bazooka at the end didn't get enough paint from UWE.
We are going to see, and I'm seeing some unpainted parts of the map at the extremities there, and just barely, I think by a margin of about 4%, Anarchist's gonna lose their advantage state, and instead we're gonna have a tied up game for UWE Sea Stags.
Tied up here at 1-1 on the turf war, and I mean, we talk about these last fights. We saw it in the first map. UWE take an amazing fight late, and they do it again. They prioritize that last 30 seconds where you're able to get a lot of paint on the map without your opponents able to have that time to make that refight, and they just get enough paint to, they might have had a bad start in those maps, but it doesn't matter. We're playing turf war.
Yeah, I think that, like we were mentioning before, UWE Sea Stags, of course, really prioritizing paint over living. Of course, that is likely why they've chosen not to have a cooler. We might see them pick that up when we get to the more competitive modes further on, but I think that helped them in the end there, where they were able to get that little bit of paint, that 4% of paint to win that. But we are now going to see a counter pick from Anarchist. We're looking at the map modes we have available here, and of course they're going to be able to pick between Hagglefish Market, Humpback Pump Track, Ship Shape Cargo Co, and Robo Ramen. Really interested in what we're going to see if we do end up heading to Robo Ramen. Exactly the one I was thinking of. Perhaps they, we're on the same wavelength or something like that. Something very interesting about Robo Ramen that I'm excited to see is that this is a very layered map, of course. There are 2 tiers, so to speak, of the levels going on here. So there's just a lot of painting to be done here. And I feel like it's even possible that you may just do so much painting that you very rarely even come across someone, because this is a large stage, Anso.
Large map, and some really important verticality to this map lends itself for turf, or as you said, you're going to be painting more than you're going to be fighting, and that's going to help UWE here. As we've seen in their comps, they're focusing hard on that paint output and much less on taking the constant engagements that Anarchist is looking for.
Absolutely, but one thing of note, whether this is turf war or this is a more competitive mode, like a ranked mode, when it comes to Robo Ramen, if you get stuck in your spawn, the retake can be absolutely brutal. So if either of these teams just have an oppressive power on them, regardless, you can just kind of stick them in their spawn and make it so that they just can't get any paint down. So we're definitely going to be looking for whether either of these teams are able to be that oppressive.
We will see. Anarchist going to try to take as many fights as possible. As you said, they want to push into that position where they're able to pseudo spawn camp, right? and keep UWE locked down. And UWE, they just want to go la 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 la, we can't hear you, and paint.
Absolutely. No changes here. They are very clearly locked into their style of paint, paint, paint. No living, but of course, not so much the style of Anarchist. They still have that zap going, but with notable changes. Rhythm on that V Wiper as well as Nebula switching from that ballpoint instead onto that Nautilus, which may be useful in terms of pressuring those choke points anyone might want to push through and make it more difficult to be locked out. But as you see, already several members going down, Booyah Bombs coming out, and Zukas. It is just a bloodbath right off the top with Snipe Z getting 2 picks with that Zuka.
What an amazing double from Snipe Z here. But Boop, gonna get shredded, and the Booyah finds no one. 2 minutes on the clock, and Anarchist, they're going to paint all this mid area. We see nobody go down below, as Anarchist are actually looking for the fight here.
Yeah.
I believe the colors are swapped.
Yeah, I think that this feels a lot. Actually, those colors are not swapped. UWE Stags still going with no cooler there, but it seems almost as though these teams are playing like a game. Whoa, that was clutch, but it feels almost like a game of zones here with how these teams are very focused on this top level rather than making sure they get a healthy amount of paint on this. You see there in that jump out, that bottom right corner, almost completely unpainted. So right now, I think Anarchist is really just positioning themselves in a place where they can just lock out UWE Stags, put a decent amount of pressure, and keep them from dropping and getting a sufficient amount of paint out.
Yeah, UWE, you see Harry backing up here, but the Ultra Sam comes in, and they're going to get splatted as the Ultra Sam finds Boop as well. That is such a far push, and look at that paint. That's one of the best things about Ultra Sam. Is look how much paint they have found. Look how much map control they've gained just from that push. And here, you said it before, that retake, if you get bottled up in your spawn, it's so hard to push out on Robo Ramen. And we can see Anarchists are locking out UWE here.
Yeah, and especially it seems as though they're using that Booyah Bomb rather than to take space, just to get paint down, which may be a little bit ill-advised, but so far, UWE Stags maybe kind of putting me in my place there because they've been able to finally get out of their spawn, but not without casualties. 2 of their members going down, and that cooler out is going to be death, really, for UWE Stags. 2 of their members going down in 10 seconds left, not looking good for them.
Yeah, we see Clone getting all this forward paint here. 4 seconds left, and this looks like the last nail in the coffin for UWE Stags on this Turf War set. But we will see. I can't tell you who won, you know.
Yeah.
It honestly looks really close. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I gotta give it up at the very least to UWEC Stags. They have really neatly painted their own spawn. I find that surprisingly to me, sometimes you see these teams that have a reflux and still they neglect to very neatly paint their spawn, paint the ground. So definitely some strong work. We're going to take a look at some of the instant replays from that game. You see right off the top, those double booyahs coming out from UWE Stags. No surprise given their comp, but it seems as though the fighting power that they sacrificed in having a reflux, in having this short range, has really done them a little bit dirty as they have lost that first set, forfeiting the point over to Anarchists. At least the first point. It's still a best of 5. They still have many chances to take the rest of the set.
Yes, they have a ton of opportunities here when we switch to the ranked modes, and I'm looking forward to see what they're going to bring here when we go to their ranked modes. We saw UWE prioritizing what was considered, meta for the mode, right? Full painting, you see the Shringer, it's a high priority on playing around the mode and less around their team fighting ability.
Mhm.
And so when we go onto these ranked modes, we're going to see them swap up a ton most likely. And I'm excited to see what their choices are for those maps and modes. But Anarchist, they prioritize weapons that were, had some painting capability, but also allowed them to play around their spectacular fighting ability. So I'm wondering what their swaps are going to be as well.
Yeah, not surprising to see a bit of a difference in terms of the strategy going into that, because on one hand, it is turf, you want to get the most amount of paint down, but on the other hand, people cannot paint if they are dead, right? So sometimes you want to prioritize that fighting, make sure that the members stay down, especially if they have no cooler. And I think that is overall what led to Anarchist taking that first turf war set and that first point. But we are going to be looking at first at Rainmaker. And in terms of Rainmaker, taking a look at the map modes, the options we have available are Scorch Gorge, Undertow Spillway, Mako Mart, Manta Maria, Humpback Pump Track, and Crab Leg Capital, but they have chosen Undertow Spillway, which for Rainmaker, honestly,
I love some
Oh?
Undertow Spillway Rainmaker here. Not the easiest map to play, but it's so fun to watch. We get some really hype engagements, and I'm excited to see what teams are going to bring.
Oh, absolutely. You see some of the hypest clips you've ever seen in your life on a place like Undertow and on a mode like Rainmaker, because what I always say, I think the hypest part, once these teams get that initial checkpoint, the walk to the final check is perilous and very hype. It's easy and difficult all in one. Difficult because it's so cramped and so many things can just splat you right on the spot. But it's not that far of a walk. So you see these teams just eke out 10 billion points by picking up the Rainmaker and making a jaunt off to that checkpoint. And suddenly they're 30 points lower. So definitely excited to see what these teams are going to bring to us. And we're taking a look at the roster right here in front of us. Anarchist versus UWE Stags, of course. Anarchist with Snipe Z, who is going to be their backline, probably, I think, in-game Mesmerizer, along with Nebula of note, a member of Spark as well. Famed player and a famed team. So definitely going to be interesting to see how this shakes out.
Yes, it's going to be super interesting here. As we're loading in right now, these two teams, it is on this map. Winner of this could either tie things up or push us to map point, series point, I believe. If I can count.
Yeah, perhaps if they win this, they might then go on to Anarchist, of course, to the series there. But already we have a pop on the side of UWE Stags. No surprise, they have that Wellstring, no doubt, to just get that object damage, get that pressure. Wellstring, honestly, been seeing it a lot more often in competitive play, particularly on this specific map mode, but Anarchist able to pick that up, and they're gonna try and make a run for it, but not before losing it, I suppose.
Oh, what a spectacular pick from Snipes here, but their team is 2 down. It's 3 down on the side of UWE Stags, though, and this should allow the Rainmaker to coast right in, but no! That Stringer is such a spectacular pick right there, holding off before the choke point. And, with that object damage, you can pop that Rainmaker bubble so quickly. And that's going to allow UWE to contest this Rainmaker. But also, Anarchist, they're pushing up. They found a pick, and they're going to try to get the Rainmaker again. But maybe they're going in a little bit too soon. It gets picked down. But there's another pick as well. It's so back and forth. Who's going to get this pop?
Yeah, and it's going to be UWE Stags, I would argue, to no one's surprise. With that Wellstring, I'm actually surprised that Anarchist is even putting in any effort to try and contest that pop. Wellstring is really the king of pop. like move over Michael Jackson, I suppose, because it will always win. And you see UWE Stags getting that pop once again, and they're starting to make their way and walk. But of note is that UWE Stags going in all in once again, being coolerless. So when they go down, they're down kind of for good. And 2 members down already. Rhythm getting that really sneaky pick at the end, but not before losing that checkpoint. So right now, UWE Stags with a really healthy lead.
Yeah, push all the way to 51. You talk about not having cooler. Assuming they don't have any of these players, I don't see any weapons that are really wanting to run that quick respawn. So they're really playing off of, we're not going to die. And if we do, well, oh no. Yeah. Womp womp. But we see the 10 missiles pick up the trade as well. So it's a 1-for-1 here as the mid fight. And that bubble's looking awfully purple here. Anarchist gonna get that pop as they're gonna try to push forward off that map control. Harry not gonna find a pick with the Zuka. And the Rainmaker's going to go to Anarchist, but they need to find these fights. That's gonna be the dualies down here. And the Forge as well. The Pro going down, and now that's 2 players down for UWE.
Yes, which is going to be super useful for this push. But of course, you have those dualies kind of flanking there, but not fast enough. That checkpoint has been broken. 2 members down on UWE Stags is going to mean that Anarchist may have this opportunity to push, especially with Nebula on those grates top right. But there are a lot of specials coming out, getting their picks, and the lead being lost due to, I think that's Clone, the shot just barely eking out those points. And remember what I said off the top of this game, that all it takes is for you to pick that up, make a saucy jaunt there, and you can very easily lose the point by about 20 points there. So that is a huge lead, especially with a minute 20 left in the game.
Spectacular pick from Nebula there, as they're going to get this pop to no one's surprise. But yeah, you talk about how quickly these points can shift. That canyon right there that these players have to get through with the Rainmaker offers so many points. You can get them so fast here. But now it's all about whether or not Anarchist can hold on to this lead. This stamp finds 1 as Rhythm on this side is going to try to pick up as many players as they can, but they're going to get pushed. They go down, but it's a trade on the back end as well, and these trades work so well for Anarchist. Anarchist have that cooler, but UWE does not. UWE cannot afford to make these trades.
Yeah, and you know, despite the fact that Anarchist does have a cooler, of note is that cooler is on a rapid, right? So one of the big criticisms, so to speak, of rapid is that despite the fact that it is really strong on a place like Undertow, you can get those pokes in, get in those chips from really far away, making it very difficult for people to move forward. You're not going to get that many coolers. So even though they do have a cooler, it's not going to be as steady or as plentiful. But with 3, that is a delayed wipe on UWE Stags. That is going to spell the end of the game for them, giving the win to Anarchist and putting them on set point.
Yes, set point here, 2-0 so far on the scoreboard for Anarchist, and they're going to look to try to make this sweep. 3-0 would be a spectacular outcome for them, but UWE, they're fighters, and they're not going to go down without having at least 1. So they're going to try to grab this next map, and we'll see if they can successfully do so.
Yeah, now they're in the position where they're going to be looking for a reverse sweep here. We're taking a look at this replay, though. There was that spectacular double from Harry when they were finally able to break that checkpoint, and that is when that lead was lost. But also, I think the game-winning push done by a single member of Anarchist. But overall, just a huge bloodbath, and I'm curious to see if this is going to end in a change, perhaps in how they are deciding to play with a cooler or not. But perhaps they just stick to their guns, especially because they see Stags here on Clams now have the opportunity to counterpick once again. So whatever it is that they're going to be playing, whether here you are looking at the options here, Scorch Gorge, Museum del Foncino, Inkblot Art Academy, Barnacle and Dime, Crab Lake Capital, and Robo Ramen, it'll probably play to their strengths since they're the ones with the choices.
Yes, they do have those choices. They have a pick advantage, but you know, we talk about the cooler, right? But there's another option here for them. Back before the days of cooler meta, there was an option teams did to have that tempo advantage.
Beacons.
And it was a quick respawn weapon. Teams would play Tetra Dualies or Wiper with as many quick respawn subs as they could play. And you'd have that player play as aggressively as they can. If they don't want to bring a cooler option, they can instead play aggressive and use a Tetra or a Wiper and try to get in the face of as many of these Anarchist members as possible. They're playing very far back. They're playing these kind of more mid-range. Yeah, their weapons have fighting capability and can get up close and push, but none of these weapons is exclusively looking to harass constantly, right?
And so maybe none of these players were born annoying. Maybe they're like, we are, none of us just have it in our bones to harass and do, you know what I mean? I feel like a very special kind of player has to be on Tetras, a brush, a Wiper, and some people, you know, maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's a Tetra player. You know what I mean?
This is some Tetra bigotry I'm hearing coming from you. You know, it's just in our blood. We can't help it.
You know, I think that skirmisher players are kind of built different, and perhaps there are not necessarily anyone who is accustomed to a playstyle like that. Something like a Carbon that is like just wants to says, "Listen, I may go down, but I'm taking you with me." Very much so that. But honestly, we're going to be looking at Scorch Gorge clams, and often you do see things like a Carbon, like a brush could actually do them really well here in terms of someone who just whizzes past everyone and gets things in. But both of these teams definitely going to want to stand their ground, because if you wipe on a place like Scorch clams, consider your basket open.
Yeah. But you said it yourself, like, it's not built in every player, so in everybody to play a skirmisher, and you might not have a skirmisher, like a fast, quick respawn weapon player on your team. And you know what happens? You bring cooler. There's tons of backline slow weapons that can get the job done that also, coincidentally, have a cooler. We could see a heavy edit with cooler. We could see a pencil. Like, there's all these weapons that have that backline slow, hey, you know, we're very deliberate in how we play. You know, we don't play to harass, we don't play to have fights, we play to get our map control, play good positions, and win via strategic play and ability usage, right? Subs and specials. Sorry.
Anarchist seems almost as though they've been doing both. They have that cooler, but they've got a Wiper, and the cooler is on a chip weapon. I think they had that mini before with the Zuka. They're very much so harassment pilled, and they're playing meta. However, just as we're talking about it, I think they heard you and they said, listen, you're so right. Let's lock in. We're bringing the pencil to the fight. You see all of those charge ups on the pencil as well. They are not playing around. They said, listen, if we're gonna die, we're gonna come right back up because we are sick of dying and having nothing to show for it. But one of their members already goes down. I think the shot on Anarchist already has a Zuka and a ball. So already at the start of this, Anarchist has a really strong hold on the clam economy, and it looks as though they're ready to push with this cooler.
Yes, here comes out the stamp to make space. That's going to allow Nebula to coast right behind. Nebula taking the fight here as they are getting these claims in, and they are already down to 37. Oh, lordy. That is such a massive push from Anarchus. And they grab 3. 3 go down on UWE stacks. Can they get another clam in? They nab it in right before. There's 10 points remaining. Can they have one more clam? One more
gosh.
clam! Oh! That was fast.
I
That was dominant.
I am speechless. It seems as though even the cooler was not necessarily enough to help them there. They started up quick and they worked fast, getting through that entire game. Wow, I think that the key to the success is definitely making sure that they didn't slow down. You see there, they were able to get 2 members down. Honestly, not so much of a surprise. Scorch can be really brutal on its retake, especially on a place like Clams. If you drop there, you're dropping into a death pit. So I think that, it may have been Anarchist's game to lose, because once they set the pace at the start there just wasn't much that UWE Sea Stags could do, and that is going to be a clean sweep 3-0 for Anarchists.
A absolute clean sweep here in this series, only dropping a single turf. And they played absolutely amazing. Of course, that last map happened in a blink of an eye, but the last 2 maps they played as well, they played so well. They played around their, team comps, they played around each other, and they had some spectacular splats as well. I'm looking forward to see how well they're going to do in the rest of their games.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing Anarchists very soon in our round 3, but of course, first we're gonna have to see round 2. That is going to be Tentacle Nuke Inkbound versus Portsmouth Beach episode, but not without taking a quick break, Anso. So everybody watching, stay with us. We're gonna take a short break and we'll be right back with you.
Hello and welcome back. Here we have Tentacle Nuke incoming versus Beach Ep. Inkbound. It's such a good pun.
There is I love a good Splatoon pun, but here you can take a look at the rosters of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound versus Portsmouth Beach episode. Might be Portsmouth, but I am not from the UK, so you're gonna have to excuse my pronunciation there. I'm gonna assume it's Portsmouth, but here are the rosters for you here. Coda, what I believe is Jason rather than Jason. Danny Capo, Z Mamad, Plumburp, Green 149, and then on Portsmouth Beach episode, Jess Beatty, Dude It Dude 48, Sneaky Luca, JRN, Tabri, Luke, and Starlet. Of course, not all of these members will be playing due to the size of the rosters, but there they are for you. Portsmouth Beach episode came in first the last summer, the summer 2024, and have placed top 4 in the last 2 series. So it's definitely going to be exciting to see them going into this. I've seen both of these teams play, and they've both done very well. So excited to see them, Anso.
I am really excited to see them. This should be a tight battle, a series. I'm expecting it to at least go to map 4, hopefully. Because of the best of 3, I guess it's... Oh no, I have to count.
Generally, I guess,
map
when we get
7?
to the 4th point. How about that? But we're going to jump right into it. Of course, we are starting off with our best of 3 turf battles. Already, just like you saw before in that last round, we will be starting off on Umami turf. Of course, there's that signature ink brush coming out of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. And interestingly enough, out of J Blast, we are seeing a nozzle nose along with, I think, a cooler from either team on that Rapid. I've been seeing the Rapid used often in turf. I don't quite have an explanation for it, but apparently it's working for these teams.
I also see the Dreadringer as well. These teams bringing out some really nice choices. I'm excited to see how this goes. We're seeing picks back and forth, but Peach Beach, they're up on this right side trying to grab this space. A member went down. That is their brush, but a spectacular pick from Jason here keeps things equal and keeps Portsmouth Beach in a wonderful position.
Yeah, I think Beach episode definitely doing a really strong job of keeping mid so far. You have those Zuka shots coming out, not quite gonna find a pick, but I feel like that's not necessarily what they're even out for. Beach episode doing a really good job of just angling Tentacle Nuke Inkbound into their spawn. They're slowly sort of trying to take this mid back as we hit the halfway point, but Beach episode doing a really good job of staying up and getting the chip that they need in order to keep mid.
Yes, that chip and a very important part of this composition. And it's 3 picks. I blinked and I missed it, but 3 go down on the side of Tentacle Nuke, and that's going to allow Portsmouth Beach Ep a fantastic opportunity to push onto this member down here on this bottom pillar as they're trying to keep this control. They need to keep it for a minute. Look how much paint they have.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, there is a struggle in having that your cooler player being on that Rapid. Rapid, of course, classically does not paint quite well. So instead, they're focused on getting the chip, getting the members of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound that are maybe holding hands, standing a little bit too close to themselves. And you see right there the mini able to get 2 of them in one go. J Blast recalling from that inkjet and gonna go down. So we are fast approaching the last 30 seconds, which of course people say are the most important part of a turf battle. And both of these teams are going to be jockeying for getting that advantage state.
Spectacular picks coming out from Portsmouth Beach episode. That Mini is putting in a lot of work here, but these members are just trying to keep this control. They got the picks, but there's 20 seconds left. There's still enough time for Tentacle Nuke to make a last-second push, and those can be very deadly, but out comes the Killer Whale. It's a one-for-one trade as the second goes down. Tentacle Nuke on the back foot. They have 10 seconds left, but it's a wipe out as 2 more picks go down, and with 5 seconds remaining, that should be it.
Absolutely. Not going to be seeing Judd probably calling it for Tentacle Nuke there. As you can see, despite Beach episode kind of neglecting their own spawn a little bit, I think that they were aware that they didn't need to necessarily worry about it because they have pretty handily gotten the win in this first Turf War game out of 3.
Yes, they now have this advantage here, and it's going to be about whether or not they can hold out and grab this next map, or will Portsmouth Beach episode grab 2 in a row?
Yeah, but you never know, since of course there is going to be a counter pick for Portsmouth Beach episode. We'll see if that's able to swing it in their favor. That's exactly what we saw in that last round between Anarchus and UWE Sea Stags. Sea Stags able to make their counter pick, and that is they picked Mahi and they were able to get that win. So definitely going to be putting them in an advantage of their own. But I think we saw some pretty similar weapons coming out of both teams, or maybe I'm just kind of the rapid is sticking in my mind. So I'm curious what they think perhaps that they can pick out of this this map pool. We're looking at Haggle, Mahi, Humpback, Shipshape, and Robo. Perhaps they're picking for what they are particularly strong at, or we'll see if they say, listen, their comp may struggle with this sort of terrain, let's pick that instead.
Yes. Let's see if this pick is enough. Robo Ramen, we saw it before. Teams do want to pick this map in terms of Turf War, so I'm excited to see how these battles go. Will we be seeing that third map is the question. Portsmouth Beach's episode on the back foot. If you're a little bit confused, colors were swapped last match. So Tentacle Nuke incoming was the team that ended up coming out on top. Okay. And we're going to see if they can grab a second.
Absolutely here. Both of these teams, once again, I just have to go back to that rapid. There's a lot of terrain to be inked here. However, none of that's going to matter if you can't get out of your own spawn. We saw that last time with the sort of spawn camping that Anarchus was able to put down. So even though maybe a little bit of a messier spawn painting that we saw last time, you're maybe going to want to be a little bit neater about that, because every point counts, especially in a really large map like Robo Ramen. So perhaps we'll see some switches, knowing that this is going to be quite the vertical map, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not necessarily plugged into the Turf War meta. I saw both of these teams play, I believe, in their last week. Neither of them were running a reflux, which you often see at I say often see at a high level of Turf War play, but how often do you see a high level of Turf War play other than, I suppose, here? So we'll see what these teams are bringing to the table here.
Yes, we'll see indeed here. Robo Ramen is the map, and these weapons are the choice. We see a Brella coming out here from Tentacle Nuke incoming.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, firstly, that Brella very specifically, a tent. If you talk to Brella players, a lot of them do not consider tent to be a Brella, even though it is in the class. I guess it just plays entirely differently, but there have been several other switches for Portsmouth. We're looking at an Arrow Spray, no surprise there, Arrow Spray, well known for putting down a lot of paint. This one, of course, with Reef Slider rather than the Booyah Bomb. And an S-Blast as well. Not great for painting, but certainly fantastic for killing. So it seems as though Portsmouth Beach episode putting a lot of their stocks in making sure that they can keep the other team down.
I mean, the real difference between Tenterbrella and the rest is that Tenterbrella is good. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah, as we see these two teams fight it out. It's a 1-for-1 trade around mid as the specials start to fly. And Portsmouth Beach, they're trying to hold on with their last little legs of this fight here as members keep going down. As Sentinel Nuke make a spectacular push up here, finding these members out one by one, and they're working together to grab these fights.
Yeah, and you can see that left side of spawn unpainted so far for Portsmouth Beach episode. It seems as though they're putting a lot of stock and a lot of energy into keeping mid. Very understandable because having that mid allows you to keep the pace of the game. But 3 members are going to go down on their team with the exception of their 10th, which is still up, trying to keep that elbow space so they don't get pushed back too far into their base. But with them dropping there, they're able to live, get the chumps out, try to push back Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, and I think they're overall able to do it. You see several members finally moving up from Portsmouth Beach episode, canceling that hammer, gonna be huge for them, especially a minute out.
What a cancel onto the Reef Slider here from 1496, but out come the Zukas, and one is better than the other. J-Blast coming on top there, as the push is made yet again from Portsmouth, as they are so close to bringing this across the line. 30 seconds remaining, and we can see how much paint is orange right now, as they are playing so spectacularly well. Out comes the Reef Slider. That's a lot of paint, but it does get canceled. That's going to give the number advantage, but it's actually was a 1-for-1 trade as the brush goes down. 20 seconds remaining. The Booyah comes out. The brush is down again here as 2 are down on the side of Tentacle Nuke. Incoming as these members, they try to break out, they try to get some last second picks, but they go down, they get found out, but there's 2 down on the side of Portsmouth Beach episode with 5 seconds remaining. Can Tentacle Nuke bring this across the line?
Yeah, we're going to take a look at that final number because of the members that went down, maybe not so much the critical ones, but you can see they have taken the time to really neatly paint that base. And I think that extra paint, as well as a lot of the dominance that they had going on during most of the game, is going to pay back in dividends, as Portsmouth Beach episode does take that game, eliminates the advantage that Tentacle Nuke Inkbound got from that first game, and evens it up 1-1 in this best of 3.
Yes, evens this up, and now it is anybody's game here. Who can take this series? Who can take this first point, get that advantage going into the best of 5? It's all going to be about one turf war map right now. Who's going to come out on top? It's so close. I mean, both teams have played so well these past 2 series. I can't tell you who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Really a change of hands there. I feel like we saw a pretty dominant game out of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound in that first game, really holding that mid and staying strong. And then Portsmouth Beach episode really giving them a taste of their own medicine that other game, and having the entire map orange to the point where, despite near delayed wiping them, there just wasn't enough time to paint over it. So now, of course, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, it's going to be in their hands, seeing as though they are the ones with the counter pick. So, if you're Portsmouth Beach episode, you might be a little hot under the collar, knowing that Tentacle Nuke Inkbound going to have a bit of an advantage here going into this last game.
Yes, they get to choose that map. That is a massive advantage. It's both teams have taken, could be argued to be their map picks here as we go onto Ship-Shaped Cargo here. And, this is a map we haven't seen before on this turf war, at least today. So I'm excited to see how these teams are going to play this. This map, has some great, locations for pencils and snipers, but also we've seen this reliance on the the Gatlings here as, you know, those as the choice for the back lines, as they're more aggressive and you can get a lot more paint down. And so, excited to see what teams will choose here.
Yeah, absolutely. And among the Splatlings that we've mostly been seeing is that mini, of course, that new mini with Zuka. And if anyone has been online in the last 2 years or so, you know that you can get Zuka pretty badly on a place like Shipshape. Zuka, a really strong special here. So definitely looking forward to seeing that mini and how many people they're able to just snipe out of their pants with that Zuka, because it can really pay back in dividends. And I imagine that despite this being a really strong charger map, it is zones. So sometimes, not zones, it's turf. And sometimes you will see a pencil in turf just because it's able to cycle those coolers, get down that paint, but haven't been seeing it much amongst the players in NSE. So imagining we're still going to see those rapids, perhaps a switch to Zap if they find it appropriate. But other than that, definitely going to be keeping my eye on Zuka picks.
Yes, these Zuka picks are going to be important. We'll see which ones they are in just a moment as these teams are loading in. Here we go. Who will grab this first point? Who will consider themselves the better of the two Turf War teams? Come on, you got
Yes.
like bragging points are important, you know.
Yeah, and they're going to get way more than bragging points because, of course, they might get their hands on this first point of the set. No switches for Portsmouth Beach episode. However, I think we do see a switch for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, if I'm not mistaken. A switch over to the new Gal that has that cooler on it. So perhaps going to get more coolers comparatively than if it were on a Rapid, and also going to profit off of that fall off, but already an overextending Aerospray gonna be punished there and go down, and a hammer already out, meaning that Tentacle Nuke Inkbound already getting to work and making sure that they themselves do not fall to that ever watchful tent.
Yes, ever watchful tent here, as it's one down on the side of Beach episode here. And we talked about that Gal. I really like this Gal choice. That cooler is yet another option here. Another good cooler option. But that sub is that angle shot, and could be considered a weakness for the weapon, as we'll see how it works. But first, a pick from the Killer Whale is spectacular as 3 go down on the side of Portsmouth Beach episode, and Tentacle Nuke incoming. They get that delayed wipe. Such a good position to be in.
Absolutely, especially nearing the halfway point. Really good to have this level of dominance, but even better is to maintain it. You see that Tentacle Nuke Inkbound does a really good job of not overextending, trying to keep their space, much like they did in that first game. But I believe in that first game, they did not have to deal with the tent, right? I think they had a lot of struggle dealing with the tent in that last game there. You see all of those members just putting in shots, dude, making maybe an ill-advised reef slider there and getting punished for it. Of course, that cooler finally coming out from Jason, breaking that, or at least attempting to break that Booyah Bomb, finally punishing them as they go down. And now that we are in the final minute, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound gonna be looking to really cement this dominant hold that they've had so far in this game.
Yes, they've had such a good dominant hold here, but 40 seconds remaining and they're down to 1. Can they hold on? That is a spectacular chain of response as they gang up on that one overextending member. It's Tabubu here. Can they find Tabubu? Dude going into the spawn with the Reef Slider, trying to get as much last second paint as they can, trying to drag these members all over the map to see if they will go down, but Portsmouth Beach episode ends up going down themselves. A full wipeout with 16 seconds remaining to get that purple painted out of their spawn. and they're going to try to hold on for 10 seconds. It's a spectacular pick. Out comes the Ultra Stamp for even more paint. 5 seconds remaining. Tabubu holds on here, but it's going to the end. Has Portmouth Beach episode put enough paint to win this? Or, well, okay.
They absolutely have. That was a dominant game practically the entire time. Very surprising, seeing as though Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are the ones, I believe, who counterpicked this mode, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I think I am.
Tentacle Nuke winning, I believe.
Oh,
Wait.
my apologies. I think then they have won their own counter pick. So
Yes.
definitely, I think I was a little bit confused given the first flipping, but yeah, very dominant game, and they weren't even necessarily in a position to lose mid throughout the entire 3 minutes.
Yes, it was a spectacular position for them here. They played so well for the entire good half of that map. And they just held on that advantage, right? One of those maps where you could just keep playing upwards. And yeah, Portmouth Beach had some fantastic breaks from the pack where they dragged all the members of Tentacle Nuke away from each other. But it wasn't enough. The diversions weren't a strategy that could get them across the board. And that's going to allow Tentacle Nuke to grab this first point. We'll see how this correlates to the rest of the series. We saw in our previous map that the winner of that first 3 turf wars ended up playing spectacularly well when it came down to the ranked modes, but these are a set of 2 different teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see how they kind of went back and forth the entire time. So no telling necessarily how it's going to go. I've also seen, I believe, a team just win the turf war set and then proceed to lose the next 3 competitive modes there. So definitely very possible, and sometimes that's a bit of a warm-up. There are even top level teams that aren't necessarily accustomed to playing turf. So now the real challenge begins, where one game gives you 1 point, starting off with Rainmaker, and imagine we're gonna see differences in a lot of these shakeouts in terms of what weapons people are playing. Imagine we're going to see that Ink Brush still out of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. That is one of their signatures, but certainly perhaps going to see more conventional choices on those cooler choices.
And here it is, Humpback Pump Track. This is such an aggressive map. It's all about taking that last stretch, how much you can get in that last few points of that open area, because it's so hard to push through. Every single point you can get is such a massive lead upon your opponent's team, much more than other maps, because of just the sheer difficulty of pushing through. So we're going to see how these teams are going to get to that, who's going to pass that first point, and if teams are going to be able to make those comebacks. It should be a spectacular map to watch. So I want to see if Tentacle Nuke can bring themselves to that 2-0, or can Portmouth Beach tie things up as we go into the rank modes.
Yeah, well, like you said, this can be a very hype map. Of course, you get to that first checkpoint. Sometimes you just have a fight in mid, and then you get that check more or less for free. But the real test is going to be pushing to that final checkpoint, to that goal. The first check is in a really nasty elbow part of the map. It's very easy to bomb out, easy to throw your specials at if you have a displacement special like a Booyah Bomb, like a triple ink strike. It can be very difficult if you don't get that check for free to even just push it forward after that. So a lot of the scuffle and a lot of the fights are going to be in that elbow position, where both of these teams are just going to be jockeying to either defend and absolutely smother the team trying to push the Rainmaker forward, or see if they can get a wipe. And even then, you wipe the other team, you pick it up, they are right there spawning in, and they can easily just down your entire team as you try and walk to that checkpoint. So definitely a really steep hill both of these teams are going to be facing.
Yes, they definitely have to climb this steep hill and see who will become the king of the hill on Humpback Pump Track, as they're going to be fighting over that central point a lot. And it's going to be one that's going to be who can come out on these engagements. You said it yourself. Even if you get that wipeout, you're not going to be able to get enough points before the opponents get back, right? You're going to be in that fight very soon, especially with coolers being brought. But even without, this map lends itself to taking those fights over and over again. So it's going to be about who plays that micro very well. A lot of maps come down to macro, but in this map, I'd say this micro is going to be very important here.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a look at these loadouts, once again, of course, we see that Inkbrush along with Wiper, another skirmisher there, and a mini. So Tentacle Nuke Inkbound really putting a lot of stonks in the Born Annoying tier. They are looking to absolutely harass Portsmouth Beach episode with the Zookas, with the chip out of that rapid, and of course with their skirmisher weapons. They initially get that pop. Already the hammer is out. They deal with that tent pretty quickly, and I think this might end up being a free check, or at least it was going to be until 3 of their members went down. But you see, listen, they don't go down without taking several members with them. That is going to be 2 down on either side.
From the Rainmaker shot as well, post-mortem, the spectacular stroke of luck here coming out from Tentacle Nuke incoming, but now they have to fight over that suboptimal position they got the Rainmaker stuck in, and Portsmouth Beach seemed like they're fighting over this control very well. Now the does go down, but they do pick up the Rainmaker. Can they get it out? They do, but it's Azuka to try to trade. Sneaky in a bit of a tough spot here. There's members on both sides of them, and they're going to get pinched if they don't get out of there soon enough, but the members come out and help them. Portsmouth Beach episode, they protect their Rainmaker carrier here, and Sneaky is going to try to push up here and grab the lead, but it's a spectacular shot in response from the Range Blaster.
Yeah, absolutely. They are going to have to be really careful about that rapid. They have a lethal amount of chip and a lot of range there. You see Jason able to really make it out of that blast radius really luckily, and here it begins. They get that check. They in question being Portsmouth, but not able to continue pushing that. They were being bombed out in that elbow spot. Now Tentacle Nuke with on either side, one going down in that pencil, trying to chip them out. They're making their way there, but you see the brush going down to that pencil. They are not going to be able to sneakily get that out to Boo Boo with that with their special out with that Zuka. 3 members down. It's just the rain. Basically, this Rainmaker's in the hands of Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, another good fight here. They're playing spectacularly on this Rainmaker map on Humpback. And now here comes the most important push for them. How far can they get on this push? The first member goes down. It is a Dreadringer. But that triple splashdown separates these members from each other and causes them to go down. But it's a spectacular double. 3 go down on the side of Tentacle Nuke, however. The double is all that will be grabbed. This Portsmouth Beach episode still hold on as they let these 2 members drop in and pick up the Rainmaker. It is that Reslider taking a pick. There's a member up on the high ground. Portsmouth Beach episode, while as the Rainmaker goes down, they are trying to go forward. But it's a spectacular flank. The Ultra Stamp grabs 1, but it is only going to grab 1 as 2 go down inside of Portsmouth Beach. Tentacle Nuke fighting to keep themselves in this map, but a lead on 23 is spectacular coming out here from Portsmouth Beach episode.
Yeah, that is a really strong lead. They went down when they did not necessarily need to, and especially with this sort of unconventional pick in having their cooler be on a weapon that doesn't necessarily get cooler all that much. Of course, it is very aggro with that chip, but they are up against a more conventional pencil, which does have the a lot of that range. But you see that pencil did go down, giving them the window. Them being Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to finally get that tech with 1 minute left. Of course, we have Green going out here on an absolute rampage, getting 2 members down, and with Tentacle Nuke Inkbound having that Rainmaker, they're going to try and eke out the points, but it's just not going to happen with 3 of their members going down there.
What a spectacular stamp there. Finds 2, but as I said it before, this last stretch, every single point is so hard to get through. And with a difference of 9 on the scoreboard, that sounds very close, but these teams, it's going to be so hard to fight over. Can Tentacle Nuke grab it? It's a pick from the Reslider to go down on Tentacle Nuke incoming with 17 seconds remaining and no cooler up for the it's going to be so hard for these members to get back in here as the ink brush goes down as well. The stagger is so unfortunate, but there's 7 seconds remaining. The triple splashdown goes down. It picks off the wiper. 3 seconds remaining, and all Sneaky does is has to have that Rainmaker in their possession. Portsmouth Beach episode will tie things up at 1 here.
Absolutely. I think really strong job having that pencil. I think made a big difference for them there, as well as, you know, Rainmaker gets a lot of flack these days, especially in competitive, for being so stally, and I think that was the struggle at the end there for the other team, is that with that stalling, when you pick it up, I think that was Tentacle Nuke Inkbound that tried to take that that Rainmaker and just weren't able to get it because they were in mid just kind of biding their time. But as you can see here, we just had so many near wipes and absolute killing sprees that happened. And one thing I always say about Rainmaker, particularly, there are a few map modes where all it really takes is one good push, and I think that Rainmaker Humpback is certainly one of them, where you just make a crazy run, you eke out a crazy amount of points, and that's just really it. The game is yours.
Yes. Couldn't have said it better myself. It is all about getting one crazy push, and as we can see here, here's that spectacular double kill from Tentacle Nuke. But later in this play, Portsmouth Beach episode made a spectacular push all the way through to 23, and that's what ends up eking them out this tying map. And now they're going to go onto this third section here, 5th map, and it's going to be Clamps.
Yes, and you're looking at our map pool here. Clams meaning that they have the opportunity to play on Scorch Gorge, Museum del Foncino, Inkbot Art Academy, Barnacle and Dime, Crab Lake Capital, or Robo Ramen. And in that, it's Portsmouth Beach episode, I believe, who's going to have... No? Am I wrong there? I think so. I think it might be Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, actually, who has this counter pick, as they were the ones that just went down, if I'm not mistaken. And so knowing their more unconventional picks as it pertains to what they're running, last time we saw them with that ink brush wiper, instead of a pen, they were going for that rapid, knowing that if they decide to stick with that, they're going to have less coolers and going to be a little bit less stable there. Definitely interested in what they think will be a strong Clams pick up against a pencil. I have to imagine, thinking about the map pool that we just saw, what is strong for a rapid that may not be so strong for a pen? Again, looking at these places, I would argue maybe an ink blot. I could see AoE is really strong on Inkblot. So they might want to go there, see if they can chip out that pen. And yeah, that's certainly a choice, or possibly a crab leg capital, because Penn really strong on crab leg, but if they can't steadily be on a snipe and instead they're constantly being chipped out by a rapid, that could spell some trouble for them, man. So
I would like to see that Inkblot. I think that would be a fantastic map here for them. Again, as you said it, very good for that rapid. A lot of the ledges and kind of cover you can play around really help kind of all blasters, right? And so that could be a map that they're thinking about here, but the map has been chosen, and I think it might surprise you.
ooh.
It is.
Mhm.
It is going to be Scorch.
Ooh, Scorch. Interesting. I'm wondering if we're going to see a comp change there. As much as Rapid typically should be able to check Pen, I think that your number one focus is definitely getting through that choke as it pertains to Scorch Gorge. Of course, getting to that basket, very difficult because you can bomb out the choke similar to the elbow in Humpback Pump Track. It can just be so difficult to get up that ramp, make sure that it's completely clear, and also that the pen isn't just watching you by basket on that ledge, making it so you can't even necessarily get up that ramp. But the other thing is that they have to make sure that that pen stays down, because if your team wipes, like I said before, the other team will be at your basket in the time it takes you to respawn. So both of these teams definitely going to have to focus on living, and that may be a little bit difficult for a skirmishy team like Tentacle Nuke Inkbound.
Yes, that could be very hard for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, who is really hard focusing on taking those fights, skirmishing, as you said. Portsmouth Beach episode, if they play this slowly and strategically, we could see them able to really get this win here. But we saw it in the previous series. This map can also go by really fast, and that might lend itself to Tentacle Nuke Incoming, where they, play around, getting into engagements as fast as possible and just trying to end this before Portsmouth Beach episode can really start to get their strategy rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. As much as, like you said, we were talking about kind of being steady, making sure you don't go down, so playing more methodically. You can also very easily be punished here for not playing fast enough. If you're not capitalizing off of your picks and moving fast enough, then the team can just spawn back in, especially if they're coolered, and be right back where you left them to defend that section of their ramp, meaning you can never really get a healthy push. But of course, two members already going down from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. You see Tabubu taking those rates, making sure that they can very solidly defend this choke. Of course, one thing about that tent is that it can just be so difficult when it's sent out there on the ramp, whether defensively or offensively. So even though the clam economy very firmly in Portsmouth Beach episode's hands, with a wipe, not going to be looking good for them, and I think that is probably going to be an assault there on their basket.
That should be. Here comes out the power clam, and now it's all about the follow-up. How many clams can they grab to put into this basket? They didn't have a lot queued up here, and that might be a punishing mistake here, but they managed to grab some here. But they're going to have to go back and forth, and that's going to be the sign for Portsmouth Beach episode to press the go button. They see these members going back to try to get clams, and now they play aggressively, pushing off of this. And now that leaves them, it's a push to 59, it's a decent lead, but Portsmouth Beach episode, they managed to get 2 picks, and they're going to look to get their own pop here.
Yeah, very important. They made it past the 60-point mark. Very important to do so. Of course, for those watching who are not aware, you get a pity clamp. When the other team scores on your basket, you see one of the teammates unfortunately whiffing that ball, but able to take it and lay up, make sure it gets in there firmly. And so far, we have a very quick run all the way down to 33. Two of their members are going to go down. Green very wisely getting out of there, making sure that they stay alive, that they stabilize, because as we just saw, when your team wipes, when too many of your teammates go down, consider your basket open. And Tentacle Nuke Inkbound having a crab out, but ultimately going to go down to try and take that mid back. An active Zuka coming out here. So both of these teams just skirmishing, trying to get the picks necessary to perhaps make another go at each other's baskets.
Yeah, we see Tentacle Nuke, they're kind of giving a lot of space here to Portsmouth Beach, and Portsmouth Beach is happily, greedily gobbling all of that and pushing off the back of their space, and that's allowing Green to come in here with this Ultra Stamp, and he's pushing so far back into Tentacle Nuke, trying to punish that pencil, and he does get the pick, but it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and Tentacle Nuke play off that. They managed to get 2, and now it's their turn to control mid. Here comes out the crab. That's going to put so much paint down far range. Portsmouth Beach, they need to back up here. A Tentacle Nuke, that allows them to get some time, have their teammates regroup, the ones that just died, and now with that Brella, they're going to try to push off the back of it. Out comes up the triple splashdown, but it's not going to be enough. There's just not enough paint in front of them, in front of Tabuba here to get the clam in, but there it is. Clam goes in, but that's just the penalty down, and now Sneaky needs to get in as many of those clams as possible. 47, there's a 14-point difference between the two, but the clam is in trouble. The crab is in trouble. Wrong crustacean here, as that is going to be the timer running out.
Yeah, you see, this is what we were talking about when we were discussing speed before. I think Tentacle Nuke Inkbound really being punished for not picking up their speed. You see, 3 of their members are going down, meaning that a push is evident on their basket, and you see that does come out. One of the hammers getting a pick as they continue to make their way through that penalty, and finally they have that open clam economy in their pockets for sure. They're looking to sustain this basket and get the knockout overall, so that is going to be a win, I believe, for Portsmouth Beach episode, getting their look back there.
Such a fantastic win from Portsmouth, handling these 2 pushes from Tentacle Nuke very well, and now it's all going to be about this map here. Can we see Tactical Nuke play well and grab this map and bring us to that final decider, or are we going to see a 3-1 coming out here from Portsmouth Beach?
We are going to be heading to Tower next. You're taking a look at these replays. There, I think, is at the end of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound's push there. And I think that, they were playing a little bit careful. Perhaps if they were able to move a little faster on that push, they may have been able to put a bit more pressure down there, possibly. And, I think that's my mistake there. I see that Tentacle Nuke. What was it? Portsmouth Beach episode or Tentacle Nuke that won that last game?
Last game, according to the scoreboard, is showing Tentacle Nuke. We might have had an issue on the colors there.
Or maybe it's simply my memory. I am getting old. So I would not be surprised if I simply was not paying well enough attention there. But we will be heading into Inkblot Tower, which will be I think series point, I guess, for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound there. Yes.
I do see a chat message. It looks like colors were mixed. So that is unfortunate for us, but Portsmouth Beach episode, they're gonna need to hold on here, and that is at Inkblot Art Academy here we were talking about, but it is going to be on that iconic mode here for it. So who will come out on top on towers here is going to be the question.
Definitely super interested to see there. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing that custom blaster, and we are, along with a switch to, was that a Flingza? It was. We're going to be seeing a Flingza here from Portsmouth Beach episode, which is incredibly interesting, of course, when it comes to tower, and particularly Inkblot. You're going to want to have AoE ready, camp those ledges, make it so that no one feels comfortable dropping, especially because Tentacle Nuke Inkbound has this mini here and has that rapid that may be wanting to take those further off angles, but I'll tell you here that 3 of those members already going down for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound is going to mean that they are immediately going to get punished. And quite frankly, I don't know if they're necessarily in a strong position for retake. They have a very aggressive comp, and you see already a wipe and a triple happening right here. So they are going to have to scramble to make sure that they can deny Portsmouth Beach episode for making an even deeper run here on tower.
J-Blast, if I don't see that clip on Blue Sky, I'm going to be a little bit mad. What a fantastic play there from J-Blast here that allows their team to push into checkpoint 2 here. And now with the Tri-Strikes, the Zook... Okay, my brain is not functioning here as 3 go down on the side of Portsmouth Beach episode. And Tentacle Nuke, they're going to try to push back in off that push. We talked about the aggression that they needed to bring here, and it's starting to come out. They grab that advantage, and immediately they push out, trying to grab the picks, but J-Blast grabbing one, grabbing a second. J-Blast is having a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Super dominant in this entire game. You see them panic popping a triple splashdown there and getting 2 members down right now. Both teams have 1 down. That Zuka is coming out, and so Sneaky very wisely making sure to grab some cover, do some support off of that right side just in case there are flanks. And speaking of flanks, a flank very successfully gonna get down Sneaky and Dude making sure that they're safeguarding those missiles, and fully the team getting a wipeout. Portsmouth Beach episode getting ready for another push, and they are all cleared up. So Tentacle Nuke Inkbound with no points on the board, currently on the back foot yet again.
Here we go. J-Blast using that triple splashdown here to get some aggressive positioning, but it's going to be about this last checkpoint. 10 points remaining. Can Portsmouth Beach get this tie? Can they get this last 10 points to bring us to map 5? Or will we see the greatest comeback in Inkblot history? But it's 1-1, 9 points remaining here, but we flank from 1496. It grabs 1. Can it grab a second? The second goes down, but they don't get traded. The picks are going in Tentacle Nuke's favor here, but it's 3 points remaining. It's one hell of a lead to fight against with 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound essentially going to have to get a knockout, and they're on their way there, getting 2 members down, especially key members, J-Blast being one of them. I feel like J-Blast has been making a really deep run this time around, so super huge to have them down. You have that jump out there. Several members in mid, no one on that tower to put points on the board, but finally, just over 1 minute remaining. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound finally getting ready to make a push and get some work done. Sneaky getting chipped out by that Wiper, and I think that finally they're getting that aggressive run in there and making use of that comp because they need the members to go down from Portsmouth Beach episode, but it's not going to be enough. 3 members going down with 1 minute left, essentially just under 1 minute, is going to be very difficult for them to get this knockout that they're going to need.
The stamp gets shredded here, as that's going to be an advantage here towards Portsmouth Beach. 30 seconds remaining. Tentacle Nuke have to get through 2 checkpoints, and the first member goes down. It's going to be tough for them to get through, but with that rapid going down, It's going to be difficult. The Dread Ringer goes down on the side of Portsmouth Beach, but it's 2 members down on the side of Tentacle Nuke. The splashdown grabs another as Tentacle Nuke. It's all up on this Viper here to try to get this map control, but they're up against a pencil and a carbon or a roller here, and it's going to be difficult. Can they do it? 1 second remaining, but they cannot. Portsmouth Beach episode, a spectacular map, and that brings us to the decider.
Yeah, absolutely. We're heading into a game 5 with a very decisive, strong run from Portsmouth Beach episode. J Blast definitely the MVP. They're doing some great work making sure that with that blaster, before we even started the game, I was like, I'm excited to see what we see out of J Blast on that custom blaster, because of course blaster really strong here. I myself run blaster here as well. You see, I think that's a quad for J Blast. Definitely a clip they're gonna want to keep in their pocket. And then, of course, they have that splash down there, which was able to eke out just so many points. Aside from their fantastic work with their main weapon, there you see, despite going down, taking a member down with them. So a really deep run into 3 and a decisive callback there. A lick back moving into this last game. So it has been one, then the other, both of them trading hands, and it's all going to come down to this, a counter pick on zones.
We go to that last map. I called it at the start of this series that we'd be going to that map 7, and here we are. Map 7. This series has proved to be a banger, and it is all up here. Now, Tentacle Nuke, they do have that slight advantage with that counter pick. They are, if the trend continues and the back and forth keeps going, they will come out on top, but it's all up to Portsmouth Beach here to try to bring that across the line and stop that and play on their opponent's counter pick. And we saw how well they played last match. They played so spectacularly. So it is really anyone's game.
Yeah, you've been seeing, though, that both of these teams have been winning on their own counter picks. So it might actually literally just be I give it to you, you give it back, and that may decide the game. So Portsmouth Beach episode definitely sweating, I'm sure, especially some of these zones options are a little bit less conventional, especially for competitive, of course. Museum is an option, not necessarily always played. Manta Maria has double zones, as does Undertow Spillway. Barnacle and Dime has its own problems. Of course, this is a very common zones map in competitive, but very difficult to win if your team wipes. It can be super punishing. So with these interesting choices, definitely excited to. Oh, and there it is. The Barnacle and Dime zones, putting it all on that for the finale. And like I just said, I mean, really better them than me, because I certainly do not like playing on this map mode because of how punishing it is. And definitely maybe Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, which of the two has the more conventional comp with their pen and their sort of steady hand. Perhaps they're going to count on that to punish members of Portsmouth Beach episode when they overextend, perhaps get that wipe and see if they can lock them out.
I just have one question for these teams. How far do you end up pushing on this map? We see these teams, this map, whatever, no matter what mode I see this map on, all 4 plus turf 4, it's about how far you can get up into the face of the opponent. You take that mid control, and you don't just take mid control. You try to take as much land as you can take, and really force your opponents, because that spawn area is hard to retake through on this map. You're kind of bottled up, but you have to get so far in order to bottle up your opponent here. So how aggressive do these teams play it? Do you play a backlane comp? Because that mid control is nice, right? The mid is a play. There's good sniper places, right? Or do you play something hyper aggressive and play around that far positioning?
Both of these teams are going to be jockeying to get that lockout for sure. One of the things I often say about barnacle zones is one of the reasons it's so punishing is it's so large. I often say as soon as it hits the ticker hits 15, the sheer volume of time it would take you to swim into mid is going to mean you've effectively already lost the game. So when you are in your spawn, you're going to have to take a fight with the other team in order to get your court. Then you have to fight again to get your own plat, and then you get into mid. So it is no easy feat to even get into that midpoint, and because of that, the other team certainly is going to want to push up really far into that court and make sure that the other team gets denied mid. But this is the last game of the set. We are currently at 2-2. Both of these teams looking to get their third point and the rest of the set. We see no changes there from Tentacle, Nuke Inkbound, and Portsmouth Beach episode. I am wrong. Flip that. I think I'm right. Portsmouth Beach episode, running the same thing with that tent and Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, switching back to the gal that has the cooler, but two of their members already going down, including that gal who just barely was able to get that cooler out before going down, and that hammer is going to get 3 picks total. So overall, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound gonna take their hold on that zone and see if they can get that plat.
How far 1496 push there. That's what I like to see here on this map. But Reslider going to try to neutralize the point, but it just doesn't get that full paint. But it does get some space. 2 go down, 3 go down on the side of Tentacle Nuke incoming, and that's going to allow Beach episode here to try to push up as far as they can. 80 points. They have no penalty to work with as this is their first capture, and that's going to allow them to get this lead. How far can they hold on? They need to hold on here. Green's going to pop that killer whale as it grabs some space. The paint is on the zone. Can they flip it? The Brella goes down, but it's a trades in response. 2 for 2 here as the zone looks blue turquoise as Jason in a little bit of trouble. Can they get these picks? The cooler comes out. The flip comes out, but there's 50 points. A spectacular push here from Beach.
Yeah, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound trying to sort of stabilize here, take their fights properly. The name of the game here is definitely going to be trying to get a pick on that pen and on... Oh, I think we're having a bit of connectivity issues, perhaps. But no, so far, no one DCing, so we're just going to keep playing on. But the Zuka not able to find any picks, so Tentacle Nuke Inkbound going to keep that zone up until 3 members go down there. The brush trying to get out of there doesn't quite make it, making a delayed wipe, and Portsmouth Beach episode already moving forward to see if they can secure this lockout at about halfway through this match.
The lead shall swap here as it's all on Tentacle Nuke to make this retake. We see Jason on the left trying to get some space, trying to get an angle, but instead they're going to group up and play as a team. Here comes out the Killer Whale. We saw it be a fantastic special to getting the space here. It does not find picks. 24 remaining, no penalty on the board. As Beach episode, all they need to do is hold on. The Sprinkler is coming out, trying to keep control, but the penalty is going to be applied. Tentacle Nuke, they get the paint down as Coda here gliding through their ping to try to get picks, but 1496 goes down to Boo Boo with 2 with the Zuka, and they're going to try to grab point off that, but it's a trade in response. Tentacle Nuke not going down without a fight. As the splashdown comes down, the dust settles, and Portsmouth Beach episode come around with the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. But Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, their brush gonna go down there, fighting more than just the opponents, unfortunately. But finally able to get down that tent on the other team, which is going to be huge for them. I think that tent has been giving them a lot of trouble, but already they have made it through their penalty points, and right now they are going to have to paint, and they do so successfully. Coda kind of being stuck up there a bit, but Tentacle Nuke Inkbound definitely trying to take that plat. Not able to do so, being pushed back a bit is going to mean that they're likely going to lose the zone. But with 3 of their members going down and a minute left, they're going to have to organize and figure out what it is they're going to have to do to make it back into mid, but also have a more solid hold. Coda with a really strong flank there.
Yeah, fantastic pick from Coda there. He's going to grab the space. 6 points remaining, a penalty. 16 points on the board. It's a pick from the Zukas. The points, they do swap. The zone swaps, but now it's time for the fight. It's 1 down on the side of Tentacle Nuke incoming. They need to get a pick onto Taboo here. It's a fantastic pick on Taboo. That's 30 points remaining. 30 seconds remaining. 2 down on the side of Beach Episode. For these members, they're having the fights. It's back and forth. 2 down on both sides, but there's no penalty. Beach Episode, they need to get back in on this, and they have that brush to do, or the umbrella to do so. With 25 points remaining, Tentacle Nuke, they find the space. They find a moment of calm with 10 seconds remaining, and the lead swapping. It could be fantastic. Out comes the reslider to get the points, but it's not going to be enough. 9 points remaining, and as the time ticks to 0, it's Tentacle Nuke incoming, taking the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was clutch at the end. It felt as though Portsmouth Beach Episode really had a strong hold for most of that game. So I was thinking it might have been curtains, but yeah, they were able to just barely get the time to tick past and get the lead. And at that point, perhaps J-Blast did not have the triple splashdown that they needed in time, and that just wasn't going to give them the game at that time. But we're going to take a look at some of the instant replays, because there were a lot of good picks and a lot of really clutch moments in that last game.
There was a lot of really good moments there coming out from both teams. I mean, look how back and forth this was. We went down to map 7 in this series, and each team battled it out, taking their own counter picks. So a hype series, and you know, it was close, but Tentacle Nuke incoming, I'm really excited of how they played that series, and I'm excited to see how they play the rest of their games going forward.
Yeah, and I think we are actually going to see one of those games. I believe we have a round 3 incoming, and we might be looking at Anarchist versus Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, if I'm not mistaken. This round 3, I think, is the winner of both of those last rounds we were taking a look at. But like you mentioned it, I think well done for both of these teams for definitely calling their shots, because every single one of them won on their own counter pick. So clearly they know their strengths, they know what they're good at, and they executed accordingly.
They executed very perfectly there on that last series. It was a fantastic series here, but that shall be all from us. Sasu, you have been such a wonderful commentator to work with. How and where can people find you?
The people can find me at Sasu in your pants. That's SASUINUR. The letters UR rather, pants. Because some people think it's spelled like the normal people way, and it's not. It's with the letters. But also, Anso, if the people want to find you, where can they find you?
You can find me on the worst website known to mankind, Twitter.com, at Ansonin4. Drop the O because I mistyped when I was making my username. You can find me on Blue Sky, I believe, at Ansonin at Blue Sky. And you can find me over at Twitch at AnsoninFGC, where I stream fighting games. I have Evo coming up. I'm training for that, so that is exciting. But, you know, that has been wonderful work. Thank you to Jorian and the wonderful team of Dapple Productions. But we have 2 amazing commentators coming up to commentate this last match. But you'll get to hear all about them right after this break.
Welcome back, everyone, to the NSE Summer League presented by Dapple Productions. My name is Conroe, and I am joined once again for an NSE cast with Dory. Welcome in, Dory.
Hi everyone. This is a great way to have a Monday evening. It's cool. We already saw Tentacle Nuke play earlier, but it's always good to have more Splatoon. And facing them are anarchists. What do you know about these guys?
They were on earlier as well. They had their winners semi-final before Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, and they won that as well. So welcome to the weekly match between these two teams, I guess, because these two have played every single week. Just if you're not familiar with this format, we had 3 weeks of Swiss, and you can play the same team like week to week, and they've played each other 3 times. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound won the first, but Anarchists have won the other 2, and I think the other 2 were both 3-0. But this is definitely the highest stakes of the bunch, because this is the winners final of NSE Summer League. Whoever wins this will be in grand final, which will be happening next week. Next week is the final Monday of the tournament. This is the second from last, and once again, it's going to be best of 5, with game 1 kind of being a mini set of turf war. And is it always Umami Ruins? I feel like it's always Umami Ruins first. It definitely was when we casted last time. I feel like it is. Just Umami Ruins is first up.
Yeah, I think it's not terrible. I do like watching some amount of competitive turf war, and it is very nice to have a tournament structure that lets people see what turf war can be. These teams haven't, they don't phone it in, right? Like, they still want to win this point. And it is very interesting that you have a mini best of 3, just because it's smaller. It's a, the matches are only 3 minutes long as opposed to 5. So that just gives a little bit more depth as far as gameplay is concerned. You can feel each other out to see how aggressive they'd like to be at the start and at the end. That's important.
Yeah, definitely is for Umami Ruins, and both these teams have played here already. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. I mean, I think they were the only team. They've been the only team actually so far to take a match off of Anarchists. That one match in week 1 is the only. It's the only set that Anarchists have lost, in this whole competition so far. So they have that going for them. They kind of know how to do it. Anarchists weren't playing with Nebula at the time, which is normally the sticking point. Nebula was back for the other 2 sets that they played against each other, which may probably helped Anarchists quite a lot there as well to get the win.
Do you think these guys are going to play the same comps as they've done, or switch it up against each other? They must know each other so well by now.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I know they both have like more than 4 players as well, so I don't know if they're switching. It doesn't look like they've switched any players, I can say that much, or at least Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have. I can't quite remember who Anarchists were playing, but I mean, Nebula and Snipes are still playing. I know those 2 are a constant. So we're going to get into Turf War, game 1, Umami Ruins. Snipes, again, fancying that Stamper. I've seen him on that a few times in this, even though they're normally a backline. And we see the Embers 96 from Jason as well. That's the one with the cooler.
Yeah, some very fun third kits have found their way quite solidly into the metagame, I guess, or at least, an increased pick rate. The Viper is still the vanilla one, which is still, I think, the best one. And Zap, of course, with cooler. You can't fault that. There's no way anyone... Oh, a really nice Trizuka pick right off the bat. Double from that mini. That mini is actually such a good kit. My goodness.
It is. It's a ridiculous kit for a paint bot kind of weapon to have, just Zuka and beacons as well, which is, it's an amazing kit for that weapon. So we are starting to see that quite a lot. And for good reason, especially in Turf War, because all you're going to do is paint and then just get about 10 Trizukas in the game and just fire it at them and probably get a couple of picks like you just did. The stamp comes out. Oh, okay, all the specials are coming out. It's another pick with the Trizuka. And it is Tentacle Nuke Inkbound that have kind of taken control at the start of this.
Yeah, the first minute doesn't count for that much, of course. both teams are definitely feeling each other out. You know, they're going to have to watch. Anarchists definitely know they have to watch for that Zuko. But of course, in Turf War, it's like the last minute or 45 seconds or half a minute that really matters. You don't want to lose players then. In that case, the beacons on that mini are going to prove, really, really strong for people to come back in.
Yeah, beacons are very helpful for getting back in. It's like Umami as well. I feel like there's plenty of places you could put them, and if you put them down, the opposing team still has to kind of deal with them, which it takes up more time as well. Because they can't just leave them there because players will use them. The whales coming out now. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound trying to just maintain control. They've kind of been on top for most of this, but it has been pretty close. And as you said, a couple of picks later in this game will decide that the Ultra Stamp is ready again, and they've done quite a good job of just getting picks with their specials. But first, a BR bomb from Snipes, the Stamp thrown straight away, not able to get anything, and it's very, very close. Now Azuka from Anarchy for the Anarchists, and they get one, at least almost a second, but that's pretty important at this point. And now the counter Zuka, I guess, from the other side, from the other mini. It's just Zuka versus Zuka from the two minis, and now they're fighting each other with their mains, and Tentacle Nuke Inkbound come out on top.
Yeah, it is. I think it's such a fun weapon because it's deceptively mobile. It just kind of walks around all over the place. And of course, on the side of Tentacle Nuke, they also have another really, really mobile weapon, the Viper, which looks like it's outpacing a lot of the other team, actually. Snipes on this slower Stamper here seems to be caught out of position a lot. They just getting rushed down by Tentacle Nuke. And this is the last second. I wonder how much of the base they've painted.
Well, I thought that was Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, but then we switched to a Zap, and the Zap was in their spawn. Okay, they mostly got overpainted.
Oh my goodness, 0.6.
That was way closer than it looked like.
0.6 Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. Yeah, we must have been missing some action there from the Zap that we just switched to at the end, because they were able to get all the way onto the other side. From the overview, it still looked like Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to me. I guess it was, but not. It looked a bit more comfortable than 0.6%. But
nice. They've squeezed that.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. I kind of like how it looked like they were quite restrained and actually really pushing Anarchist's side, because that can be a bit of a risk in Turf War. You want to have control as much as possible, but you also don't want to feed because that just makes it easy for them to come back in. But I really feel like they were just holding mid and waiting for the specials to come out, because Anarchist didn't seem like they were back in until the very end of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's beacon gameplay, right? Like, you have someone in mid, you don't have to push too far, because if someone ahead goes down, they can always jump safely back into mid. And then Tentacle Nuke, I mean, they did a really good job of holding top mid, and that's what you want, right? I think in this map, obviously, who controls top mid controls the game, and they just happened to do it in the last 30 seconds where it really mattered. I mean, 0.6 is absurd. It definitely looked so much more pink, but I guess that's a matter of not painting spawn as much. So yeah, we head to Robo Roman, which is another one of these slightly wider maps than usual. I think, again, lots of places you can put beacons. I suppose we'll see the mini again, but I wonder what else.
I have no doubt. We will. I mean, Zuka's not bad here either. If you catch them on a good angle, just kind of shooting up at the platforms. But yeah, Beacon was the first thing I thought of when I saw Robo Ramen appear there. It was like, okay, plenty of good spaces for beacons. Are they going to change anything? Is Snipes going to switch off the Stamper? I mean, I feel like in Turf War, Stamper is like, you want picks with it. I mean, it is still a big like slaying weapon. So if you're not getting them, maybe you might want to pick something else, especially Snipes, because they're such a they're known for their backline weapons in high level play. Obviously, they don't really play Turf War. I think it is a bit of a Turf War pick from Snipes, but it'll be interesting to see if they change it. It was a solid first game from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, trying to make a statement after I think it's been 2-3-0 losses against Anarchists. I can't remember if they picked up a game, but I think they were both sweeps. Yeah, so they're trying to get a point on the board.
That's really nice. I do think this is a good argument for like top level to play, at least some turf war, right? Like you watch Era Cup and not Era Cup, but the Japanese tournaments. There's always there's sometimes and fairly often, like often enough for you to go, they actually do this quite seriously. And then of course they have Koshien, which is like the whole structure of just turf war. In a way that Western high level and top level just never play turf war, right? Like you see Splatfest weekend and everyone's just on Twitter whining about it.
I think it was in Splatoon 2, it was actually Dapple Production tournaments that used to do kind of it didn't count towards the set, but it counted towards a counter pick, and they would play on one of those Splatfest maps that Splatoon 2 had, those special
That was
ones, and that was
quite
quite
fun. I
cool.
like that.
Yeah, I do like that, because some of those Splatfest maps were interesting. But anyway, Game 2, Tentacle Nuke Inbound, if they're able to win one more, they will get the Turf War point, and I don't think, Dory, we've seen anything different, or was Nebula on T-Tech in the first game?
No.
That is the only change.
I think. Yeah, it is very interesting to see differing strategies. Tentacle Nuke sent only 2 players into mid, and Anarchist sent all 3. Of course, you don't want to send all 4 because you want someone behind to get a quick special, especially a global special like Whale or something like that from the brush. That's always useful. But they're stuck here. This fight can go on so long in this corner, and I know as a Viper player, I love just hanging out here and being an idiot. But Green has been doing so
There
well.
it is.
Zuka.
There it is. when we had Anarchy's POV there for a little while, and I was seeing those 2 Tentacle Nuke Inbound players line themselves up when Anarchy had the Zuka ready, and I was like, guys, you gotta not line up. But they eventually get the Zuka out, and they get 1 pick. Anarchists kind of, it's pretty neutral right now. Again, a lot of specials coming out. I see a Stamp, I see a Zuka, I see a Tri-Strike, I see a Caller as well, and I see 2 players down for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, and they're the team that's cool. No, actually, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound was the team called. So, yep, there's picks. There's no doubt there's picks in this game. I think Anarchists generally have control of mid, but it's anyone's game right now.
Yeah, I think just raw paint power wise, Anarchist specials are going to do a lot more. What can you say about strikes on this map? Ever present really, and Booyah Bomb over Killer Whale for sure. If you're looking to do some last minute paint, 0.6%, that might actually make the difference, because Booyah Bomb you can paint after the game ends.
Yeah, that is true. It's an interesting pick otherwise, because Triple Ink Strike and Turf War, it's like, where do you shoot it? Where do you throw it? There's no objective spot, unless you're just going for maybe some super jumps back in, or maybe the beacons. So it's definitely an interesting point. But T-Tech can just paint really well as well. So that's always the reason to pick it.
It was really good. We saw some usage of. Oh wow, that's almost everyone dead.
Oh dear.
On this side, Snipes just surviving that throw, but then in the super weak state will have to back up. We saw some really good use of Tri-Strike just now, because it forced Tentacle Nuke almost all the way back into spawn, and Anarchist could take mid. But Tentacle Nuke is back in mid, and definitely fighting. We see Tri-Strike use again. Now this one's a bit panicky. It doesn't really get the value. Coda does go down to this, but then both sides have.
Oh my goodness. I thought Anarchist might turn this around, but that double with the Zuka might settle it the other way. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound.
Out here. Nebula escapes. Nebula
does go to the other side. Oh, it's a messy. It's this map is messy. Who has won game 2? Have Tentacle Nuke Inkbound won the first point of the set? Oh my god. Thank goodness, it's so close again. But it's Anarchists that take it. And it is 1-1 in Turf War. Looking at that, I think Tentacle Nuke Inkbound's spawn was just a little bit dotty compared to Anarchists. So, again, maybe painting spawn was the difference in that game.
They leave spawn for the brush to paint, so Coda does that and gets like the long range, the long range information from Whale, I guess. But then Brush is less even of a painter than any shooter, and I think the shooter that paints on the Anarchist side is the Zap who does it. So that actually just made the difference, because both sides had deep incursion into each other's territory, and Nebula just ran away with it at the end.
Yeah, that was a pretty important kind of push to the other side, just staying alive and constantly painting on Tentacle Nuke Inkbound's kind of area of the map. So yeah, we've had 2 Turf War games, and I think the overall margin of victory is like 2% total, like 0.6, and then whatever that was. I mean, I think that was about 2%.
Less than 2%,
so
yeah.
less than
It's
2%.
amazing.
So
Good
already,
tight games, I think.
yeah,
It's always
All-
fun to watch anyway.
already
And you're right about
set.
the tri-strike. Like, they just get placed wherever, I guess. Wherever it looks more of the enemy color, you just chuck them one in the direction.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a pain.
And it was an interesting final 15 seconds. I felt like Nebula could have been picked off by, was it Coda on the brush? But they took out the tri-strikes, and
really
Coda
close.
couldn't. I mean, those were good tri-strikes because they kind of put it on themselves and then behind Coda, so they couldn't really get away. And then I think it was Anarchy on the Zuka, the mini, that got 2. So that was like a crucial moment with about 20 seconds left in that game that just spun it in Anarchist's favor enough. So actually, I think that was Tentacle Nuke's Zuka, wasn't it, at the end, that got that double?
Yeah, right.
It was a crazy end in general.
One on each side. Yeah. It does catch people by surprise, I think. Just Turf War being 3 minutes instead of 5, the games feel so short, and like once you feel you've gotten established, then suddenly the end of the game is right there, and you have to really do something. And I think that's what I like about watching Turf War. I think playing it is less interesting than watching it for sure, because when I play Splatfest, I just turn my brain off and go in. But this, watching team play in Turf War, that's far more interesting, especially in the competitive setting with some stakes to play for. That's definitely very different from watching, objective-based gameplay, because everyone is all over the place in this map. Like, what do you do? It's like you have to think about it very, very differently, which is great. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I feel like game 1 here, Umami felt a bit more coordinated on the teams. Game 2 felt a bit more messy, just with like, I mean, to be fair, it's a wider map and there are a lot more picks. We haven't mentioned, we haven't discussed the game 3 map. Ship Shape Cargo has been picked. Probably one of the very few maps. I think I mentioned this last week when I was commentating, where the structure on Turf War is probably better than it is on the ranked modes, because it's got the high ground platform. I was actually really confused when I first played Turf War on this map, because I rarely play Turf War. I played all the ranked modes first, and I thought I was like in mid already, but I was still in my spawn, because they have the high platforms at spawn as well. I was so confused. But I think it's good having them there. Yeah, it's good having them there. It's like good for, you don't just get like caught out by high ground and mid if you're coming out of spawn. And so there's one player on Anarchists that has gone in, and that is Snipes trying to. Oh, it's Wiper. Is it Wiper v Wiper? Sword v Sword. I mean,
Snipes is playing Sword. Yeah, Snipes in a much more advanced position this time. I think willing to definitely play for picks this time. Very, very interesting about the verticality of things here. We can see those strikes are very, very useful at just drawing a line straight across mid. They get one with the help of those strikes, but these little ups and downs, they're really fun to play against, because you don't get, if you play Turf War in an Anarchy mode, you just get shut in. But the map layout here allows you to get out anyway, which is more interesting in Turf War, because that's what's necessary in the last few seconds. Another set of strikes. Doesn't pick anyone off.
Ooh, there you go. Snipes does get taken out by the Zuka. And he has. Oh, that's the other mini. I thought they immediately just got another Zuka. No, that's the one on the other team. So they have a Zuka to go. So no doubt, some Tentacle League players are about to get taken out by that. They have 3 bunched up on the right. Might not be good when the Zuka's out, but they do disperse. And I don't think that Zuka got anything. There's the last shot, but the BR bomb is right on top of 3 of them, and they all have to split up. And Snipes is trying to follow up and take advantage. And everyone's kind of staying alive. There's one pick for Anarchist, and Coda's going to take advantage now. Flank on the right. Snipes. Nice. This is really good teamwork from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. This is what a brush wants. They go in from the sides and have teammates following up to make the pick easier. And Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are really taking control of this with 1 minute left.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. that Zuka's less overbearing on this one. You know those jokes about in Anarchy mode when you spawn and the Zuka hits your face? It doesn't do that here, which helps. But also even in mid, when both teams are trying to push, there's this big bridge in the middle, and so they can't just pick off someone on the opposite side of the map. There has to be some team play, some planning. You have to go in with some help. The Zuka comes out from here. You see the Booyah Bombs paired with it, but 1496 manages to escape and hold this position in mid, which is huge because you've only got 24 seconds left. They have the Zuka now. They get to use it from a high position and still don't manage to find someone, and that's just because this map has so much more verticality.
Oh, these picks are so important now. Who's going to win this fight? Green and Snipes. Snipes gets the pick with the Stamper. Oh, but Snipes gets taken out as well. Anarchist down to 1. I think that's going to be game 10. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound were in control for the majority of that. I mean, I was really impressed with their play for like the last minute. I feel they were just like where everyone was positioned and the way they were coordinating and just picking people off for Anarchist's team. And I think Anarchist, whenever they had a special out, like Tri-Strike or something, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound would reply with one of their specials. Like they would, Coda would use the whale, and it would just disrupt Anarchist and make it difficult to come back in. And they would just always get the picks. And 1496, I think you mentioned them on the mini, they were always just top mid. I don't think they ever like went forward, but it's so much pressure. It's a bit like zones once you get to top mid. On ship shape, on zones, that's where the backlines always sit, just top mid, because it's so dominating. And it's not too different in Turf War. They just weren't really able to challenge them. I don't think the Zuka was taking them out as it probably should have been. So yeah, solid really well. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. Yeah, they did. And Tentacle Nuke Inkbound take game 1.
There was a really, really slightly nervous moment for 1496, I think, when both the Zuka and the Booyah were thrown in the direction, but like the awareness to dodge that and jump to the other side was fantastic and just allowed the rest of the team to come in. They basically held this position for the last minute. They didn't have to move up after that. So a very, very well-deserved point for Tentacle Nuke right here. I think we've got a change in mode, the mode order coming up for the rest of the set. So let's see what the Anarchists are going to pick.
Yeah, I believe it's Splat Zones. Game 2. Oh yes, it is. It shows up on the screen now. It is Splat Zones. So they have about 6 maps to choose from. It is their counter pick. And they haven't been in this situation too many times, to be honest. They have swept most of their matches. So having a counter pick choice, this is already the second one they've had to do in this game because they counter picked one of the Turf Wars as well. So they got Undertow, Museum, Mahi, Makoma, Manta Maria, Barnacle, and Dime. And I'm trying to think what might actually suit them and whether they'll change anything. I mean, Turf War plays so differently. Like maybe they won't change anything too drastically yet. Just see how it goes on a ranked mode. I'm sure Snipes and Nebula at least prefer these. Yeah. So yeah, interesting to see what we see
around all these things. We've both seen Nebula play live, and like Nebula likes to keep by the objective. I guess it's easier to distract them when the objective is essentially the whole map. But with zones, the rest of the team are going to be like laser focused on this thing, and like it's up to the teamwork because obviously Anarchists have 2 like really brilliant top level players, right? Like that gold X rank badge on Nebula's splash tag is like that is a hard earned badge.
That's the ultimate flex badge. That is the ultimate flex badge.
And I mean, they have to deal with it, but it's really nice that we have, from the gameplay we've seen from Tentacle Nuke, they haven't been like too respectful of that. Just go in, get the picks. They feel like they can win. It might be an ego fight, but they definitely just keep going in, and they managed to split the team apart. They managed to stagger them slightly, and every moment counts, especially as these games are now longer, back to the regular 5 minutes we're so used to.
Yeah, definitely, and it will be Makoma. Yeah, not too surprising. I think they may have counterpicked this one before for zones whenever they have, which is rare. But yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, if Snipes stays on the Stamper. I can't quite remember if it's just a turf war pick for Snipes or if they're mainly playing Stamper here, but this is definitely a good map for that. When you're in control, if you get caught out by a Stamper under a plat, then it's not good news. It plays like a blaster a little bit like that. It's just yeah, Stamper's such a ridiculous weapon. When it's below a plat, you know, you can get hit from miles away as well because the shot just goes all the way along.
Such a long range. Yeah, Stamper on that left or right side, especially challenging the right, the Stamper just under there is going to be really annoying to deal with. Although I wonder, honestly, like Snipes would just play pencil here, maybe. Always something to think about. Especially as Margama is just like everyone has played this map mode. If you've played any comp at all, this is the map mode, like one of like 3 or 4 that everyone practices endlessly on. It'll be very interesting. I'd love to see more mini gameplay, honestly, because I like that. And I know Green is going to play Wiper, right? Like Green is Green a one trick? Green played Dapples just now for one game, but like has largely remained on just that Wiper.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but yeah, it will be interesting to see what they play. I mean, I'm a bucket, so I love Mako Mart. It's great for buckets. Yeah. So we see buckets come out. I know Jason plays bucket. Of course, Jason's been on the Claws Gal, the Claws of 96 for Turf War. Again, is it a Turf War pick? Because Anarchists, I believe, have been playing with an NZAP. So is Snipes going to switch to the pencil? Are they going to switch up? There's been some changes here, I think, in the players. Anarchists did have a player called Anarchy, and they are no longer there. Rhythm the Slosher, yeah, we've seen them. I think we saw them on Slosher earlier in their earlier set. And
Cooler Blaster.
Oh yeah, the Rapid. Yeah, the Snipes on that. I like this weapon a lot. It's one of the new ones. I don't remember what it's a Barazushi weapon. I don't remember what the nickname is, but it's a Barazushi Rapid. So yeah, it's got cooler and suction bomb. It almost rivals Pen for backline cooler compatibility, but it does a different thing to Pen, and I quite like it. And a lot of picks coming out. 3 down, potential new king down. So it is going to be Anarchists taking control at the start of this, but Tentacle New King bound already a pick, so they might come back in. Who knows? Maybe not.
Yeah. That was a 12-second Trizuka, by the way, just so we're keeping track of how fast these guys are. I want to see how much special charge up some of these big players are playing, because the number of Zukas I've run into in ranked recently is just absolutely unbearable, and I'm contributing to the problem as well. So there we go, just another one. I think that's like 5 in a minute from both sides in total. But Anarchists are already below half the points. The map doesn't change in this one, but the gameplay from Tentacle New has to change, because they don't seem to be close to finding a way to pick this lock just yet.
Yeah, Nebula does go down on the Nautilus, so that's a real opportunity for Tentacle New King bound. They're taking their time though. Okay, they do eventually cap. That took a while. I thought they were gonna maybe not be able to take the zone back, but that's a solid first push from Anarchist. I mean, they've lost the zone, but they already look way more comfortable. Probably on the weapons they're on as well. They've brought in the Slosher player. I don't know if that's just for rank modes or for Mako Mart, because of course it is a really good weapon here. 1496 gets a pick on the mini, kind of going for a little flank here. Awkward angle for Snipes. Awkward angle for Snipes, but they do go down. Nebula on the right stack, and they have Inkstorm ready to go. I think there's still a player. Yeah, the Brush doing exactly what you want a Brush to do. Sadly, they go down, but they take one down at least. And yeah, you said earlier, I'd love to see the KDs from these games and see how many specials these players are getting. But Anarchists are in control, and that penalty time is going down.
That's really fast. Okay, that was a fast cap as well. Very clean. 2 players down from Anarchist, and Tentacle New instantly held forward. But it remains to see. I think just in terms of just lockup power, the Brush probably suffers. And when the Brush goes in, I feel like Tentacle Nuke are just hesitating slightly. So they get picked off separately on 2 sides of the map. Only the Brush left really to do that. And now they'll try to stay alive, but then there's Anarchists, getting rid of their penalty again. And I'm sure Tentacle Nuke can keep doing this, but the penalty does eventually run down. So they have to find an answer fast, because this has been largely pretty dominating show from the Anarchists right now. 2 down again.
They do, yeah, but they do have 2 down. Nebula is just trying to defend the zone with Clone behind them on the shot. Coda gets behind them, but isn't quite able to get the pick just because of the lack of range from the brush. In the meantime, though, Nebula goes down, but they do take the zone back, Anarchist, and there's a lot of pain just over the zone. It's going to be about the picks, and they lose the Ultra Stand. They're not winning this pain battle. They need to get some picks. Coda goes for one, but doesn't get it. They were anticipating that flank on the stack. The caller's out. Jason's painted up. Fully ink tanked, I'll say, but that's 3 down. That is going to be game. That is a wipe. Anarchists way more comfortable on splat zones, and that is the set all tied up.
Yeah. Just how dominating Nebula was with that knot on the right side, basically unapproachable. The only one who had the range to do it was Jason with that 96, and the 96 is not exactly the most precise killer. So Nebula was just there the whole time. And that covers so much ground. It allows you to paint. You get Ink Storm as well on this one. That's so annoying. That's such a pain to fight. I want to see the KDs. I hope we'll get some player POVs on Twitter or something like that, just so we can see.
Yeah. Just post it for us, just so we can see.
Yeah, that was a really, really dominant answer. That Turf War set was very tight, but this one wasn't at all. So, Tentacle Nuke, time to counterpick to something they can do the same back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was so much better. I feel like Anarchists in general were better coordinated there. Yeah, Snipes and I think both Snipes and Nebula were playing weapons they're way more confident on. In general, I mean, I can see Anarchists being more of a ranked specialist team over Turf War, and I mean, 10 School Nuke Inkbound, they were able to take the zone back sometimes and like attempt control, but I feel like just some more coordination with the brush, like not the brush specifically, but everyone with the brush. Like, I feel like Inkbrush is best when you're really just running at their side. Not getting shot, not feeding, but like going,
Yeah, but just
running somewhere where they have to look at you. And if you can't get close enough to actually like spat them, then just hang around. Run around, avoid their shots because you're so fast. And the one thing Inkbrush, any brush can do it, but Inkbrush especially is just run. You don't need ink. You just run.
You just go in, be a nuisance.
Yeah,
make everyone look at you. Yeah. That's
everyone look at you and your teammates take them out. Yeah, it's quite difficult to coordinate that.
Yeah, that game plan didn't work. We're just waiting for what they have to play now. What do they play? Is it Rainmaker next?
I think is it Tower Rainmaker? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, nice. And again, they're gonna have to put up with not it's just such a good Rainmaker thing, right? Like you have the option of splashdown to just kill pushes immediately. It not essentially fires forever if you leave it alone. So they have to deal with that, and Nebula is like a top ranked Nod, right? Like we've seen Nebula play Nod for years and years and years. So yeah, good luck, guys. Put up a really strong fight. They have to do that. They have to like plan to take that down.
Yeah,
as soon as they can.
Imagine Nebula doesn't have to charge then Nautilus. That's how it feels like when you fight against Nebula. It feels like they just look at you and you're just dead. Okay. Well, on the upside,
I wonder when Nebula charges, because like you never see it happening. You just see shooting all the time. It's amazing. Just like,
I mean, that's what good Nords do, definitely. Like they charge it when you can't see them, and then suddenly they just pop out and
you're dead.
You're just dead. Yeah. Just at every sentence with, and you're just dead. Against the Nautilus. All right. Well, on the upside, this is the first game I've commentated where it's not just 3-0, so I'm excited about that. I do get to see a game where both teams get a point. 10 School Nuke Inkbound have just been involved in one of the best sets of the tournament. I feel like that 3-2 against Portsmouth was ridiculously
that
close.
was hype.
Yeah,
that was really close all the way till the last few seconds. I mean, Jason, clutch it out again.
Honestly, like for me,
that was very exciting.
Yeah, honestly, for me, you can't beat a Splat Zones game where they're just constantly retaking zones off each other. Like,
So good, yeah.
those are the best. I don't. I can actually remember like one. You know, the World Championships. I remember like one game there. I think it was between like Europe and US, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. They just going back and
with
forth
the
on
one
back on.
pencil painting forever. Yeah. That was really good. I did enjoy that. I do think that these games at their very best just involve players making like, you know, the main difference, of course, between like high level and top level is just like game sense and that instinct, right? Like they know the right thing to do, or they play the probabilities, and if it works out, they just try to do everything to tip the scales in their favor. So we have Scorch Rainmaker. I mean, this is a choice for sure. From Tentacle.
He is.
Wow.
Definitely is. I feel like I might have seen it before in the tournament, but yeah, it's it's definitely interesting. It's a bit more closed off. I mean, to be honest, a lot of the Rainmaker maps have big choke points. To be fair, but yeah, the checkpoint is on the far left. Well, on the far right, I guess, if your point of view of your attacking side, and yeah, I mean the only other way is on the grates. Yeah, you could go over grates if they're
Grates are fun.
If they're wiped. I don't know how else you're getting over there, but yeah, we'll be interesting to see if there are any changes from Tentacle New King Band. They all seem quite confident on the weapons they've been using. Jason seems to they seem to have figured out something where I think Jason is the player on New King Bound with the most experience, and they seem to just be comfortable on 96 with Cooler. So are they going to switch it off? Probably not, because it seems to be their Cooler, and I doubt they don't want to play with like a Cooler weapon.
Like a Zap or something. Yeah, it's very interesting. I think this is like the first game I've seen in a long time where there isn't a pencil and an edit or a Zap, like the previous game. Definitely a surprise to me. I think I'm so used to thinking of these three weapons as absolute mainstays where Cooler is concerned. Like no one plays Dapples for Cooler, and you like on paper you think that 96 doesn't really paint that much for Cooler, but clearly Jason's making it work. So here we go. Let's see if there are any changes.
Yeah, let's see. Indeed, I mean, I think Jason in the previous set was mainly on that as well, because we mentioned angle shooter. Unfortunately, it's just not that great a sub. Okay, Jason is switched off. They're actually on the Splash, which is another just paint-heavy weapon. I like that pick though, because Crab Tank here, if it gets set up properly, is a really like strong special. It's so kind of oppressive if you can set it up in the right place, which will be the main asking point for Jason on the Splash. And it's who got the burst there? I think Anarchist's got the burst, the yellowish green team, but they are the first one to lose player, and they lose 2 players.
Wow,
and well, I was about to say New King Bound need to take big advantage of that, but Nebula has just completely shut that down and picked 2 off. Picked 2 off. I think 2 of them just approached Nebula, and Nebula just got them both. Does get taken down eventually, which is important for Tentacle New King Bound, because that means Anarchists aren't able to go in. So it's a cagey start. No one going for the Rainmaker. Of course, they have to climb up to that middle platform, but Tentacle New King Bound are starting to lose some players. And they've gone for the caller from the Rapid, that Barazushi Rapid, instead of the 96. But oh man, there's picks everywhere. Anarchists have now lost 2 as well. So
this is kind of amazing. When the player gear was being shown just now, I mean, Tentacle Nuke has 3 players without stealth jump. That does count for a lot, especially if you're trying to defend against Anarchists right now. And if you just allow Nebula to see where you are jumping into, then you get punished for it. Like, just know when the players snuck around and people were jumping into the snipe, they were all just easily taken care of. And now Anarchists just push because Tentacle, you can't get any jumps in. That's huge, actually.
Oh, they need to get Nebula. They got a teammate at least, but Nebula survives. Yeah, I think the Ultra Stamp, the Rainmaker was just following that. Nebula being chased by an Ultra Stamp of their own, and of course they get picked out. Nice double team there to take that out. And yeah, I didn't actually notice that. No stealth jumps against a team with 2 like very knowledgeable high level comp players is a choice, because I mean if they see it, they will go for it. You'll jump.
They will just go for it.
It's definitely an interesting one, but see how it works for them. It hasn't worked well too far, and that Crab Tank probably going to get denied by that Zuka straight away. And it is. That's the only problem with Grab Tank. I feel like with Grab Tank, you have to, more than any other special, you have to like notice when they have their specials ready, because if they do, you're just going to get denied like immediately. With Crab Tank, it's very difficult to kind of manage. When it's good though, like it's good. But this game so far has been all anecdotes.
Don't pop Crab.
If there's a Zuka, a BR bomb, Tri-Strikes, Kraken, anything.
That's actually true. Yeah, there's like all of them. But yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is the only reason I noticed that there were 3 players without stealth jump is because obviously, you know, I go in and I check what hammer players build, and interestingly, green on this side has special power up on these hammers. It just makes them last longer. It was definitely a very funny. It was fantastic to watch the reactions of Viper players when Hammer got a duration nerf and not Crab. You know, back when Hammer was still getting tweaks to it. Tentacle Nuke finally put 5 points on the board, but Nebula is rushing straight in as a front line, as a midline anchor sort of player that isn't afraid to just go straight in. Nebula is super scary, especially there's like no flanks on this map, and somehow it always looks like Nebula is flanking people, and that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And Green on the Viper sharked and was able to get a splat, but they got taken out by a Rainmaker shot. And Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, there's been points in this game where they have got like 2 or 3 players down for Anarchist, but I think the backlines or the anchor players on Anarchist are just doing a really good job of like holding up the play and making sure Tentacle Nuke Inkbound don't get anywhere. See, again, now they're just down to 1 player, and they really do have to push this 1 player and like just... I mean, it's not going to be a wipeout anymore. Can they at least get the pick? Yes, they do. That is huge. But now the Viper's coming back in for the Anarchists, and they really all just need to put push together. I think they're cooler as well. I think I saw the arrows. They don't have any specials on. Now they have a Zuko. This is a big time for it. 1 down, nice. 2 down. Huge. But the Rainmaker is still mid. They haven't been able to push it. Maybe the carrier got picked off. Green trying to go in with Stamper again. Are they going to get a pick? They drop down with them, but they get the pick. 3. It's just the Rapid. It's just Snipes. It's just Snipes. Oh, they took it left. They went over the Grates.
They went over the Grates. They're going to go
pretty good spot.
It straight. This is a really, really nice position for them. They can appreciate that. The Crab is out, and Anarchists don't have any specials. Oh, I feel like they were a bit too scared there.
Oh, it's 2v1. It's 2v1. 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left.
They really have to get this play. They don't die. No, they're going to leave them. They have to grab. They have to grab. Risky. They have to grab. That's crazy.
Everyone's alive. Everyone's alive. They have to watch out for that Rapid though, because that has range. Out comes the Stamp. Snipes is top right, but they're being pressured. They're going to get the lead. They do.
Oh. Wow. That's crazy.
Tentacle Nuke Inkbound on the back foot for about 4 minutes of that game. Finally get it onto the opponent's side. And whoever was pushing Snipes at the end, I wasn't able to see who it was, but that was such a good decision. I mean, that's definitely what you want to do, because Snipes suddenly they can't use the range of that Rapid Pro to finish the Rainmaker. They have to turn around, otherwise, they're going to get splatted. So yeah, really good team play from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound at the end, and maybe we're missing something with these lack of stealth jump story. Maybe that's the one.
Maybe it's the play. you just put another ability on, and it helps, I guess. But they had 1 push the whole game, and it was in overtime, and they made it count. That's crazy. It was Jason pushing Snipes. He really went for it. My lord. I mean, that's crazy. It was so impressive just watching them. The whole team was like laser focused all of a sudden, right? Like they spent most of the game splitting up on 2 sides, playing around mid instead of. Like, they couldn't really hold the space, and then once they had the space, they all like, right, this guy's coming, get that guy, top left, top right, and then Jason goes in, and then that Hammer protects the Rainmaker, and that's game. Wow, I mean, they made it count. Where Anarchists can feel, I suppose they must feel quite hurt by that. That's hitting them where it hurts for sure, and it's clams now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will say, I also thought that was over when, about the 20-second mark, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound's carrier did go down. I think Snipes picked them out. And suddenly there was just a massive team fight. We didn't quite catch all of it, but it ended up in a 2v1. And that was so important for Tentacle New Kingbound as well, because 2v1 they managed to get the burst and grab it and get that final push. And yeah, as you said,
Yeah,
Clan
that was
Blitz.
really scary.
It was. I thought that was
it. Was so scary. Yeah.
And that's the magic of Rainmaker as well. I mean, I say magic. A lot of people would say like the sorcery. What's the evil? Yeah, the evil word. The evil sorcery of Rainmaker. A lot of people don't like Rainmaker for that kind of reason. But,
yeah. You can play really well and then make one slip up and that's it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clan Blitz Museum. Anarchists have picked Museum for Clan Blitz, which I can definitely understand coming from that team. Again, Nautilus it's a good map for Nautilus. They can pretty much go where they want. Top mid obviously on Clan Blitz you can't get to the other side from top mid, but I think Naut actually has the range to like sweep across the other team's platform if they want.
Yeah, you just take top mid. I think you do actually just reach most of that. Even ballpoint is crazy here as well. So with Jetpack, that's also a huge choice. I mean, in general, just like incredible stuff happens in this particular map. Even though it was changed a lot from Splatoon 1, I think it's retained quite a lot of that like fun you can have with the verticality. In fact, actually, I got to play this map on that high jump challenge recently, and I was like, oh wait, it took me a really long time to get around to it, but like that was so fun. There should definitely be a tournament mode with this. Just like let us have the challenge modes in PBs, and then we can have a high jump tournament.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I forget challenge mode is a thing. To be honest, I haven't played it in probably over a year now. But high jump, I kind of wish I was able to play that. I've always missed out on high jump, but a lot of people talked about it really highly, no pun intended. And
because you get flanks on this one with high jumps, but we don't have that today. So no change and no change. Nice.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. No changes coming out from anyone. Rapid is still there. They're still going with the one stealth jump. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if it works out. I mean, Clan Blitz on this map, I will say, it's awkward because there's only really one. Technically, there's two, but there's only really one main access to the other team's platform, and that is on this little ramp that we see Snipes on at the moment. There is a little block on the right, but you can really only do that if the other team is either really not paying attention or none of them are alive. But it is Anarchists, again, that have taken control of a start. But Snipes gets flanked by Jason, who's doing incredible work on this splash. I can see why they've stuck on that, because it seems to be doing a much better job for Tentacle New Kingbound over the 96. Hasn't stopped Anarchists too much, though. The Stamp going in, trying to make room. They've got so many clams already, 2 down. And, I mean, this could be a massive push already, Dory.
Yeah, that was huge awareness. That's down to 39 with the wipeout.
Oh, my goodness.
That could possibly be lethal. I mean, that's crazy. So fast from Anarchists, just pushing the issue right here, down to, oh my god, less than 20? No way. They really want to knock this out. That's wild.
And they could do it.
This cooler? Oh, they don't. Wait.
Now keeps going 3 points. Did anyone jump? No one jumped. No, okay, well that's that.
87 points.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think they were trying to beat their own record from earlier. Their winners semi-final. They had a Clan Blitz game, and I think they 100-0'd, and they almost did it again. So clearly, Clan Blitz is playing to this team's strength. But Tentacle New Kingbound able to keep the game going, barely, but they're pretty much going to have to win with a KO at this point. Almost. Wait. Where did the Ultra Stamp go? Oh, okay. Yeah, they turned around.
They managed to rescue that as well, so that's good. But the whole map is blue. They're very, very aware, of course, if anyone drops left. So specials all around. Surely they know to fire Zuka here as well. Nebula is lying in wait, so that will be an easy pick. And they don't get to score, but the whole map is blue. And they're also down the player. Okay, they're no longer down the player, and Anarchists will find the space to get back into the game.
Yeah, although they're kind of keeping it going. They're two players down again. 3 players down now for Anarchists. Snipes is going to try and keep it going. They've got the good weapon for it. Yeah, really good pick. Really good pick. But Tentacle New Kingbound had a player on the flank. The only problem is now that, well, first of all, they're about 2 players down, but they also didn't have any clams. So they're going to have to, I mean, they're really going to have to coordinate a massive push here because Anarchists already got 97 points on the board and they're taking control again.
Yeah, I mean, that 97 points can be so discouraging, especially in the first minute and a half. And you're like, you know, you have to get your mental back up again because, oh, no one wants to be on the receiving end of that for sure. My goodness. That's going to be another score by Anarchists, and you know they want to make it count this time. They only have 51 points to get through. They're already down to 25, and you know there's still people at. I mean, this is going to be so annoying to get them out.
So I'm just trying to go in. Well, that could be game. That could be game. There's the wipeout, and they have three clans.
Three more guys.
Yeah.
And oh wow.
Wow, I guess don't mess with Anarchists on Plan Blitz is the lesson we've learned today. They had a basket open across 2 matches. They had a basket open 3 times and they KO'd both games. So that's how it goes when you find Anarchists on Clan Blitz. But wow, we're gonna very quickly go to game 5. Wow, they didn't want to hang around with that one.
They did not. They definitely felt like whatever GG go next after that last game, and they really didn't give Tentacle Nuke that much chance to do anything at all. There was one possible potential push from Tentacle Nuke, and you know Nebula and Snipes were just in position to shut that right down. So wow, just like a really strong just awareness of what's going to happen and the possibility, you know, like hold back, defend, just perfectly played. So game 5 again, Tentacle Nuke find themselves in another game 5. You know, do they want to win this in the last 10 seconds like they did last time?
Yeah, Tentacle Nuke Inbound making the most of their screen time today. I will say, their 10th game. Well, if you count Turf War as well, I don't know what the first. I think the first set they played against Portsmouth Turf War was 2-1 as well. So they really have maximized their screen time here. They've played 6 games. What is it? I think they've played 7 games each set. So this is the 14th, yeah. I think. so many games. And yeah, game 5. This is exciting. It is going to be Tower Control, the one mode we haven't seen yet. These 2 teams fighting for a place in the grand final next week. Whoever loses will play Portsmouth Beach episode in the losers final. I'm looking at the bracket, and I think they 3-0'd UWEC Stags at the same time that this game started. So yeah, they finished a bit quicker than this set did. But yeah, Portsmouth Beach episode will be waiting for the loser of this, and all 3 of these teams I feel like have been like really close together in terms of ability. I think they've kind of been a step above the rest, and they are the final 3 standing in the overall tournament. So Tower Control.
The UK's
what have they
strongest
picked?
Players who are still in university, I guess. Does that count? I think that's probably accurate.
I guess so, or connected enough still where they could be, you know, because alumni are allowed in this as well.
Yeah.
So,
okay. There we go. That's interesting.
But I think most players are like, even the alumni, I think players have just left. Like, I think everyone that's playing has been involved in NSE before, I think.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the final counter pick to come out from Tentacle Nuke. This will be on Tower Control, which is going to be fun. You know, we saw a very one-sided game of Tower Control just now on Inkblot. It's going to be Haggle Tower. So let's see what happens here. I don't think we'll see weapon changes. They both seem to have settled very nicely into a rhythm that they like. So I'm looking forward to Wiper versus Wiper fights.
We love Wiper versus Wiper fights for sure. Yeah, an interesting pick. I can't quite remember what experience on this map Tentacle Nuke Inbound have already. It's mainly known this one for like the second checkpoint being so difficult to get through, because that's the one where point of view of the attacking team is top right. It's right by that tent, that kind of canopy, and it's very easy for the defending team. I mean, what you want to do is get a player up there if you're attacking and shut that bit down. Once you do that, it's a lot easier. I'm wondering if Jason is considering Crab Tank here with this pick. They should probably stay on Splash. I mean, Splash has a Tri-Strike variant as well, and Tri-Strike on tower control isn't too bad for the GG-ness, the GG strikes. But I mean, I wouldn't make a pick based on that because you have to be winning the game for that to actually work. So I'd expect Jason, if they are going to stay on Splash, they'll probably stay on the Crab Tank one. Zuka is going to stay. I mean, it's really good here for clearing that top right. I mean, it's such a perfect angle for Trizuka. You're on the slightly lower ground. Anyone up there probably going to get splattered by Trizuka.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they know what they're up against, right? Like they know that they have both Snipes and Nebula to contend against, and with the way this map is shaped, if you allow something like a knot to get down the sides, it's gonna be a pain. It's gonna be just pure pain. So they're gonna have to really, really, spread the front line out, be super considerate of like who's doing what, and like you team up to pick off people. But here we go, straight into Game 5, the last game of tonight. It's been a long night, and these guys have definitely earned their place here in Winners Finals. So let's see if there are any changes.
Let's see. Indeed, it is a bit of a loading time, but Game 5 of the Winners Final, Rhythm back on the Slosher and Clone again on the hero shot. I mean, we've talked about Snipes and Nebula quite a lot, but we do need to point out Anarchist. The whole team is coordinated. Rhythm, Clone, they've and Anarchy and Telford. They've all been doing like a really good job at just sticking with them and carrying their own weapons as well. I mean, the Wiper last game got so much.
The Wiper was so good.
Yeah, but Jason is sticking on the Splash, I believe, and they're going to go with a quick Crab Tank on tower. I mean, they're not wasting any time. A point blank Zuka, not able to get anything. They're at least going to survive for now. Clone just trying to survive. They've got a Zuka of their own. Oh, they tried to get it out. I think they might have got the pick if they just kept their main weapon out there, but not quite able to. Zaid again. Or Zaid or Zaid, sorry, I don't know how to describe that one, but how to pronounce that one. But they're on the Rapid again. But Nebula's already in mid, doing what they do best with the Nautilus. And yeah, I think Tentacle Nuke lost 3 players. They're collared, so it's not the end of the world, but it is Anarchist that's going to get the first pick at first push of the tower, moving towards that first checkpoint.
Yeah, 5 specials online in total. The strikes are going to come out soon, I'm sure, once people start pushing. However, Nebula goes down. The Ultra Stamp comes out, tries to go around, catch Snipes off guard. Doesn't really get much value with that, but then at least Tentacle Nuke get back into mid. No damage. All Anarchists have done is touch the first checkpoint, which is easy to do and very hard to take over, so I guess that's fine. And then now Coolers, but they are 2 down, so the Coolers possibly a bit early. Anarchists are going to try to push that so that Tentacle Nuke don't get to enjoy the benefits from that Cooler. And here's the Zuka.
Zuka again. Oh, so that's not really a double, but they do lose 2 players. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound and Clone. I mean, they're collared as well, so this is a pretty catastrophic moment for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. They're just going to have to do some damage limitation. Well, I mean, the tower's not being pushed, so who cares, really? Anarchists, they had a chance there, but no one was on tower, so okay, now they are. But, I mean, okay, Tentacle Nuke have lost 2 players again now, but the stamp does work. I mean, yeah, they got a bit stuck there with the stamp, but what has happened here? Anarchists have suddenly lost 3 players. I mean, something like, yeah, something went wrong there, because I think they had a bit of a moment there where they were just constantly getting picked, but the tower, I don't think anyone was riding it. So, I mean, they're still winning. We're halfway through the game, but it's a push to 72. I mean, it might be a case of whatever team can actually coordinate first is going to win this. I have no idea right now.
It doesn't look like that, because both teams have just been fighting it out like crazy in mid. And that's Zukas, one after the other, and now 2 players are coming off the side, but of course, there's someone watching them because they know that this is going to happen. Anarchists find themselves 1 down.
Oh, Jason's fighting.
That is a good trade. And Anarchists are without special right now. There's these jumps might they don't get punished.
Ooh, that is an important pick on Nebula. Nebula goes down. The Slosher doesn't have strikes yet, and that is going to be the lead to Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. Clone just able.
The checkpoint, you think?
Can they? The strikes are going to deny it. Strikes. Oh, one more strike, and that's gone.
Yeah, very, very well spaced out just to waste time. Jason gets the crab out, but of course the Trizuka's right there.
It didn't stop
Doesn't
it.
actually take the. Yeah, it didn't stop it at all. I think they tried to shoot it.
Oh, this is big. It's a snap.
Oh, it's huge. Man, that's the first checkpoint 3.5 minutes into the into this last game. I mean, Tentacle Nuke. Jason is already in there. So this is huge, and with the pressure on two sides, gets a player like that, they're going to be happy to trade this any day, and they're actually past checkpoint 2 as well. So this is a good one.
Oh, that was a really good push. They eventually clean up, but it just felt like Tentacle Nuke Inbound always had a special. They had Crab Tank. The Zuka somehow didn't take it out. It looked like they were hitting him, but then they had Zuka. They had Ultra Stamp. Just everything coming together, and then Jason was able to climb top right to push it all the way down to 28, and now all the work is on Anarchist. There's less than a minute left, and if they don't overtake Tentacle Nuke Inbound's score, Tentacle Nuke Inbound will be in the grand final next week. Anarchists definitely have it in themselves to do this. Snipes has to be a bit aggressive now on the top right. 2 players go down for Tentacle Nuke Inbound, and Snipes is really trying to take an aggressive position with that long-range Rapid Pro, and they might be able to get something going. The strikes coming out are helping as well. A Zuka shot on Zaid. Can't get anything else.
Yeah,
It's
no cooler for Tentacle Nuke for a while. Crazy throw. They actually get one. Fantastic play from Green here. I mean, that is what you do as a Viper. Pop up somewhere and throw a hammer. It's really good on Power 2. But you know, they were only 20 points apart. It really. The
specials
from both sides is no.
Oh my goodness! What happened? So many
that
players
is
go down for
that is
Tentacle Nuke.
heartbreaking. They could actually clutch this out, but I
think
think
it's
that
done.
might actually be too late. No,
It's over. It's over. Wow.
What an ending.
So many specials coming out for that final push. I think Zuka, Inkstorm, Nebula took a really strong position, I think, and got a couple as well. Wow, Anarchists. That reminded me a lot of that final push reminded me of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound's final Rainmaker push. I mean, they didn't really get a push the entire game, and then just suddenly in that last 30 seconds,
that was huge. This triple.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a triple. I think the Zuka got 2, but then Nebula cleaned up, and someone else, Nebula got 1, and then someone else on Anarchist must have got a couple there. That Zuka got 2, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But then that is such a clutch pick.
I mean, that's crazy. This moment here, it still felt like it could be anyone's game because the Viper went in and then got picked off, and that was it. I think that was just like, you just have to do that in that moment. They tried their best, but like genuinely, that was anyone's game right at the end. Tentacle Nuke had 1 push and made it count. Anarchists had 1 push and made it count. So wow, they've definitely booked their place in the grand finals. It promises to be really, really exciting next week, actually.
Yeah, definitely. So Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, unfortunately, the third match they've lost against Anarchists. Now, although this was the closest of any of them, even the one they won. Two matches in a row for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound going to Game 5. They were so close to reaching the grand final and beating our top seed in winners final. Not quite able to get there, but they will be up against, in the losers final, Portsmouth Beach episode, and I think that's been a bit of a repeat match as well, I think. Oh, actually, no. They've only played each other. They didn't play each other in Swiss at all, actually. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound and Portsmouth Beach episode. They played each other in the winners semi-final, and of course that was 3-2 and very close. So it's promising. It's promising next week. So that the losers final will be played next week as well. And then the winners final.
Tight. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, losers final next week, and then grand final. I think those are the only 2. Might have to confirm it next week, but I think we'll be back same time next week anyway. But that is it for tonight. Very exciting night for NSE Splatoon. But yeah, Dory, thanks a lot for commentating with me. Please let everyone know where they can find you on the socials.
Thank you, guys. This has been such a great time. I'm sure the names are going to flash up shortly. There they are. You can see them on your screen now. Coglorisme with a dot for Blue Sky, without a dot for Twitter. And Conrad, tell them where they can find you.
Yep, pretty much the same thing. Conro SPL at Blue Sky, and just add an underscore if you're still on Twitter. I mean, I'm not really. And on Twitch, I'm just Conro. I managed to get that name somehow. So yeah, feel free to catch me streaming every so often. I normally play buckets, as you know. But yeah, that'll be it from us until next week for the final week of NSE Summer Splat 2025. We're going to see the losers final. We're going to see the grand final. We're going to decide our top 3. So please join us again then. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Also, sorry, thanks to Sasu and Antonin for commentating earlier, and Jorian on production. Ryan, and of course Dapple Production for hosting it. But yes, thanks very much, everyone. And we'll see you for the final week next week.